Hello, everybody. Welcome to another evening of Frostbite Broadcasting. Different voice tonight. Haven't heard this one in a while. Hello, I'm Harold. And joining me tonight for some League of Legends is my dear co-caster Vulpes. Vulpes, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad to be casting tonight with you. It's a new experience, and I'm sure it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, it's going to be some fun games that we get to watch tonight. As the matchup is the Frostbite Equinox against Afterlife Rose Quartz, our Division 3 team, wrapping up the regular season. I think this is one, and there's this game and one more before the end, maybe two. Kind of lost track a little bit. But Equinox haven't been in the greatest of forms throughout the split, so we're
Are um, in the nicest way, they have been struggling really hard in some of these games. Hopefully, this matchup that we're gonna watch tonight against Afterlife Rose Quartz, it should be one where they can show their abilities, especially going into the playoffs. I fully expect them to get either here the seventh or the eighth seed. I don't expect the French team to make it through. And I think Equinox really need to get their groove back, as you said, because I don't know. They need to find their footing and just be ready for what playoffs is going to bring to them. Because as we know how the seeding goes, seventh and eighth place go against first, second, and Celestial and Madman are the teams that are looking to be those top two seeds. It's going to be very difficult for them
it
with
is
what they're showing right now.
it is certainly going to be a hard and long road if they want to make it through the playoffs. But enough talking about the possibilities. Let's get into the concrete will of the draft. And as we see here, a bit of a housekeeping matter. Afterlife Rose Quartz have lost their first three bans for the series due to some issues in their lineup submission. Hence, Frostbite will get dibs on first pick. I would assume that most likely the Wukong will come through because
Uh,
it has been the more successful jungler for this Frostbite team.
yes, I mean usually we probably should expect a jungle pick. Novanomi known for these ganking, brawling junglers like the Wukong, the Vi. But considering no bans will be coming from the side of Afterlife Esports, there is a certain ADC I expect to get picked very early on for the side of Infinity.
There is the possibility of the Sivir getting picked up on blue one. That is true, but
Exactly, exactly.
in this current meta, I do think there's a higher likelihood that we will see the Wukong being first picked. But we will see. We will see. We still have about 45 seconds before the first pick offers can come through. As we see here, the bands on the side of Frostbite are the Caitlyn, the Braum, and currently being hovered is the Gnar. Now, this is probably a protection ban on the side of Frostbite. They want to guarantee Hodgson a good laning matchup, and he's probably looking towards that Urgot himself. Considering no bans coming through on the side of Afterlife Rose Quartz, they could look to pick up Hodgson or Zergot maybe on 3. But I guess we will have to see. Nothing is set in stone yet, and as we wrap up the timer with 10 seconds left on the last ban timer to expire, I wonder if how Afterlife will answer in case it is the Wukong first pick, and in case it is not, what is the answer to the Sivir coming through on the blue one?
To be honest, I haven't really followed much of Afterlife Esports, so I'm not sure exactly what their players prefer. But as you mentioned, the Wukong gets instantly walked in.
It's not locked in yet. It's slowly being
Oh,
hovered,
is it? Okay, my bad, sorry, but yeah,
and
it
now
is
it's
now.
working.
It is now, yeah.
Wukong locked in for Novanomi, probably his most successful jungler throughout the split. Well, now we see what the answer is, and it is the Jinx, which is a brave pick, in my opinion, into a Wukong. Wukong loves into playing into those immobile AD carries that have very few ways of peeling for themselves. The Cyclone and the Warrior Trickster just make it so easy to set up those ganks and set up those team fights to get on top of the Sivir. But the Maokai being locked in, likely going towards the jungle for the side of ARQ. Okay, an okay answer. Wukong doesn't like playing into AP damage dealers, but Wukong will outscale and will outpace this Maokai at a certain point, but Nature's Grasp, nothing to scoff about.
Yes, true. Maokai overall a good jungler, even though he has dropped some of his strength and like priority in recent times. But as you said, AP jungler is usually the go-to against this Wukong. Even earlier, like early morning last night, we saw the Nunu come in at MSI for G2.
Not quite as successful.
Well, no, I mean he had an early success. Like it, I think his team let him down. But as we move on to our draft, we see Talia for the side of I Am Stereo, and we will see Hodgson's Urgot here in this game.
True comfort coming out thanks to that lack of bans on the side of ARQ. Hodgson Zergot probably his most renowned pick together with his Shyvana and Stereo's Talia. Stereo's Talia has been pretty much a staple for him. Not really much. But when you think Stereo, you think Talia, you think maybe the what is it? Well, you
Uh,
see, that's exactly what I mean. Like nothing else
no, I
comes to
mean,
mind.
me personally, I love Stereo. He's one of my favorite players to talk to. Like if anybody that followed him during his Madman run from last split, they know that he plays a lot of Azir, a lot of Victor. But in his like current form and in his recent, yes, the Talia is definitely one of his better champions, I'd say. Also, like he had a really good Silas performance a couple of weeks ago against Celestials. So we'll see. We'll see. The
As you
matchup
see,
against the Oriana is it's about an equal matchup, I'd say. Oriana doesn't have that mobility. It should be fairly easy for Stereo to hit those grounded darts
the,
or
the
like
the gank setup is there for the Wukong in case they want to commit towards this mid lane. But as the last few series of ban comes in, it's the Milio and the Mundo getting taken away on the side of Frostbite, and what ARQ take away the Callista and the Rel, which means Sivir is still open. I don't know if you want to take the Sivir into Jinx Lulu at this point, but pretty much you have free reign on the side of Equinox or Infinity and Sushi for the spot lane. You're not blind picking, you fully have knowledge of what the matchup is. R5 on the side of RQ being left for top lane is a bit of a head scratcher for me, considering the Urgot has already been picked. But as you were saying earlier, the Sivir for Infinity gets locked in. I think it's the first time we see it all split.
no, it's not. It's not.
It's not? Okay, so then he already does
He
the true ones.
picked it, I want to say, against Vortex Reborn. He carried, I know he went like 16 into it, he hard carried the whole game. I know he's played it at least once. I think
I think
it's
he played
been
against in game one, week one, against PvB.
possible. I
Against
think it
Blue
also was
Torrential.
left open against Madman, but I don't think he had much success in that game with it.
As you
And
see here, the last pick coming through
Karma.
on the side of Frostbite is the Karma for Sushi. Not a fan. I'm not gonna lie.
Either.
This Frostbite team doesn't really have an engage button outside of the Cyclone, and the Cannon will come through as the last pick from ARQ.
Hmm. I mean,
Hmm.
there is always the old, tried and true quote of "It's just a silver comp. You group and you win." And in this case, you also have a Karma who has the mini silver ultimate in the form of her mantra E.
Yeah, you would know something about silver comps and grouping.
Yes, I, I do, and I feel like so do you. We have some
Uh, yeah,
history with silver
I,
comps,
I,
you and I.
I sadly remember.
Uh,
Man,
I actually have a term for this handshake swap between Sivir and Jinx. I call it the Levity Top Hat Agreement because let's just say I saw this matchup 3 games in a row last split, and yeah,
Damn, I really, damn. Top Hat being known for like Sivir is so weird to me because when I played with him, it was like this the Ziggs, the Caitlyn. It was those
I
different
think
kinds of the carries, but
I think that's more of a coach issue than a player issue. I'm gonna be real,
well, the
but
coach was the same. I'm not gonna lie. Between my time with Top Hat and your time
yeah,
with Top Hat, so
I mean, I don't know. He liked his silver. He liked the silver. I mean, the problem is for Tophet, Caitlyn was permabanned against him, so
yeah, fair enough.
that
But
that
we
was
are now
another
in the delay
yes.
between the draft being completed on the external tool and the client draft being completed in the 3 minutes before the game. So now that we have the view of both comps, now that we see well every laning matchup and the more overall identity of these comps, what is your educated guess in terms of prediction how this game will go?
Uh, I mean, are we talking biased or unbiased here? Because looking at
Um,
Afterlife esports team comp, it's like you give this team comp to like 99% of teams we have in any division in VL, and they'll know how to play it. It's like you have your Maokai tank, you have big circles, you have right clicks, R clicks, you just go in, you press your spells, and you hope the enemy team dies. You have the Orianna ult with the cannon ult, Jinx, empowered by this Lulu. Maokai is just gonna drop the ultimate and just stand there in front until if Frostbite is able to deal with him quickly. For the side of Frostbite, however, I feel like their team, like it's mostly the same, but I feel like the execution is a bit harder. Urgot, Talia, not exactly known for like being insane team fighters, and especially considering not many champions on the side of Afterlife even have that many dashes, so Talia can make full use of her W spell. I'm pretty sure it is the stun on when you dash through it. So it's
that's
like,
the E. Unravel
is
the
it
Earth,
the?
it's the E.
Okay, my bad. So I'd probably pure draft wise, I'd probably give this to Afterlife simply because I think their comp is much more simpler to play out.
I I agree to a point, to almost. There is one point I feel like it's kind of kind of a thorn in the side of this Afterlife Rose Quartz roster, and it's the fact that like the Frostbite comp thrives in chaos, and from as far as I've seen, most Div 3 games is just ending chaos. Most Div 2 games end in chaos. So, but the resets coming through on the side of Frostbite, the Urgot getting the fear, the Sivir getting the reset on the old timer, it could just be enough to make these fights unplayable. At the end of the day, it will really matter the tracking of the possible flank coming through by the cannon. I think both of these comps have the ways to outplay each other, let's say, but I think it's very difficult on the side of Afterlife Rose Quartz if you fall behind to find the fight.
I mean, I agree, but at the same time, you mentioned resets and Afterlife have Jinx, empowered by a Lulu. So it's like, and the thing I kind of wanted to mention as well, like when I said Afterlife's comp is like more, cookie cutter standard, is at least they have a Maokai to tank. Yes, Wukong, with his passive, he will get some bonus armor. Urgot, although he's ranged, he does build those bruiser items. He will have a lot of HP. He will be tankier than you'd expect. But it's like they don't have an actual tank. Like this Jinx, if she gets one kill, like if she gets any one reset, especially with this Lulu, as long as Lulu doesn't do something completely stupid, like goes in melee range or something, I not really sure. Like you need Wukong to get all the movement speed buffs from Karma and Sivir to somehow jump and one shot the Jinx. And Jinx is just going to be like 800 range away with Rocket Form.
Well, I'm not gonna
So
lie. The Wukong finding a Jinx through everything and with thanks to any speed up is not unheard of. This champion is kind of ridiculous if you are on a mobile AD carry. No matter the range, no matter the movement speed or whatnot, Wukong Warrior Trickster into Nimbus Strike will somehow find you, and then you will get cycloned.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
I think the burden of execution, I do agree, it's on Frostbite to make this composition work. While Afterlife's composition is just simpler to, well, cobble through and just find the fight. But I also think that if you fall behind to any degree on the side of Afterlife Rose Quartz, it becomes really, really difficult to come back into this game because the Urgot will be super oppressive on sides. The Talia will be able to make cross map plays and just be oppressive and bring the number advantage. So it's a question of can you just defer enough of the laning phase, just don't int enough that you get to a point where you're fighting on even footing, and on even footing, a Jinx reset will win you the fight.
yes. I mean, I agree. I feel like Frostbite need to snowball the game early. Otherwise, yeah, it just gets difficult. Even in late game, I feel like it's fightable for Frostbite. Like, don't get me wrong. If this cannon messes up and dies before he can use his slicing maelstrom, it's like the problem with teamfight comps. If you don't win the teamfight, you just lose. And Frostbite
Well,
have a
I
lot of
agree. If you
issues.
don't win, you just lose.
I mean, yeah, more or less. More or less. People die when they
So
are killed.
yeah, or something along those lines. I think it is an excellent point to make in this situation. But as we are very close to getting into game here, there's a bit of an X factor on the side of ARQ at least. I think the cannon is the X factor of this draft. You know, usually in VL that cannon would be a Malphite or a Scion or an Ornn. No, this time it's a the shout out to Jonjo, my boy in Div One. It's a Jonjo special. It's the cannon coming through.
Funnily,
I hmm?
funnily enough, I just want to mention I have seen and casted Hodgson himself play the cannon. So in a way, this is also one champion taken away from Hodgson's pool.
That is true. That is indeed true. Hodgson is a bit of a connoisseur of those more, well, I would say niche top laners, but who am I to talk about niche top laners? As hopefully we're getting into game very soon. I do think we have a little bit of still a little bit of time to kill at this point. So Vulpes. Now that most divisions are coming to an end in terms of regular season, I think Div 1 is done this week and Div 3 will end next week,
Uh,
if I recall.
no, Div 3 ends for Frostbite next week. There's this week and then 2 more weeks of Div 3. We are at week
Okay.
7 and there's 9 weeks for Div 3.
Okay, so we have 2 more weeks. We're probably going into a playoffs. Division 3 has the classic single round elimination bracket. We're gonna see. Well, it's the bracket we see at Worlds. It's gonna be 4 quarterfinals, 2 semifinals, grand final.
Yeah.
What is your prediction in terms of who is going to be the two teams that we're going to see in the final?
In the final. I'm guessing the bracket works the same way. Seed 1 and Seed 2 are at the opposite ends.
I would assume so. It's probably going to be seed 1 versus seed 8, seed 2 versus seed 7, seed 3 versus seed 6, and seed 4 versus seed 5.
Yeah. I mean, the most generic answer that everybody else has already given would probably be Madman Origins versus Celestial Light. It's just the current form of both of these teams is like insane. Celestial Light is still undefeated, and the only team Madman Origins have dropped the series to is Celestial Light in that week 1. So that is like the most expected final, I feel like, for everyone. The other teams that are interesting to watch out for is Gucci Highlanders, as basically it's like the steps, right? Gucci Highlanders, they've beaten everyone, and the only teams they've lost to are Madman and Celestial Light.
I'm not gonna
Uh,
lie. I do feel that Gucci Highlanders is very much Patharina and forwards.
I mean, maybe like they also have the GOAT James LeBron's. You know, the
I
guy is there. He's doing his
Mm.
best.
I think you
Yeah,
know my opinion on the guy. I think
I
I've
think our
I've,
opinions match, to be honest. So it's
I've been
okay.
quite vocal about the situation there, but I do think there's a possibility of a team like VRC to make a bit of a special run, make something special happen.
I
Considering
mean,
they've got the quality players for it. They've got Cookie, they've got McCray. These are players. There's no slouch, and they gave a tough fight to even some of the higher division team, higher caliber teams that as we would consider them. Somebody like Madmen, they had a tough time be taking down Vortex Reborn.
I mean, yeah,
It, it,
Sorry, Vortex Reborn actually took a game off Celestial Light, which is interesting to mention.
yeah, I mean
They,
the team. I think that the pieces in the team are good. It's just about a question of will they gel enough come playoffs time.
I mean, they'll get seed 6, which might be Frostbite if they win here, or Quantum Enigma. But we'll think about that when the time comes, as we are finally into game.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 1 of Frostbite Equinox versus Afterlife Rose Quartz in Balance League Division 3. And as we see here, a little bit of early trading happening, mana flow stacks being exchanged between the mid laners, the command attack, and the threaded volley, doing enough to just proc a little bit of damage, but nothing in particular that I can see from the runes. The only thing that would stand out to me is probably the first strike coming through from the cannon. But cannon, very flexible champion, doesn't really need like a fighting rune or a laning rune. He can just be fine with one of these runes that are more utility based and kind of just allow you to snowball the game a little bit quicker. The aftershock for the Maokai tells me that he's just going full tank. No Leandries, no Bloodletter's business. We're just going full tank. We're going probably lock it into what's the item's name? Unending Despair or something along those lines.
Honestly, yeah, that's what I was looking at as well, the aftershock. As for the build, honestly, uh, I'm pretty sure some people just go whatever the websites say, and I honestly fully expect him to actually go Leandri still, even though has a full AP top side. If he doesn't go Leandris, if he just straight up goes for the full tank build, like that's amazing. At least there's I don't know, some thought process going about the build and stuff. So that would
I,
be
I
good.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been quite a vocal proponent of the explosive Maokai build, where you go first strike and you build Leandri's Bloodletters, and your saplings deal 500 damage each.
The classic AP Bruiser Maokai. I mean,
But as we see a little bit of early trading, nothing much happening in the lanes. Junglers both one pathing up, one pathing down. Hmm. I don't know if pathing down is the right choice here for the Wukong. It's a lane where you almost have no setup for the ganks. You only have slows coming through from the Karma, and if a tether actually fully applies, I would say that as we see here, a lot of hard trading coming down on Infinity. Both defensive subs forced to be used on the side of the Frostbite bot lane. The early trading, Lulu is surely a champion.
yeah, Lulu's early training should not be messed with, and I guess that's our answer to why the Wukong is patting outside. Like, I guess Frostbite botlane would use the extra help, losing the barrier and the heal this early on, while getting no sums back on the side of ARQ.
That as we see, the traps land, but the zap doesn't somehow. And Kaisushi just gets to walk out for free, but Infinity was forced to reset. He gets a longsword, but this is a lot of lost tempo on the side of the Frostbite bot lane. Sushi was able to hold up the wave enough so Infinity here doesn't lose as many minions, but it's not really great to see your AD carry being forced to base before 3:30. You lose a lot of priority, and if you're a jungler, wanted to move for the scuttle, you probably couldn't have moved with him. But as we see here, Nomanomi actually just cleared down and then went up to contest the scuttle.
Yeah, it's interesting. Neither jungler went for the bot river scuttle. I
There is a
guessing Nomi.
there's two rift scuttles, guys.
Yeah,
Guys,
guessing Nomi managed to steal it off the Maokai. Like maybe Maokai didn't have smite for it. I'm not sure how that happened.
I don't know either. I'm a bit confused and perplexed, to be honest. But who am I to judge? I miss smites all the time. As we
Missed
see,
smite
little
instinctive.
little bit of trading happening here in the top side. The Hodge fully knowing that doesn't have any support. The cannon does outrange the Urgot. As we see here, a possible gang coming through, but the lightning rush coming through from the cannon just gets him out. And the ward being placed, actually, I think the ward on the top side just expired, but cannon did have a ward that managed to spot the Wukong coming through. So nothing ends up happening.
Yes.
Hold up. Hold
I
on.
think.
Hold on.
Can I guess what you're holding up about?
Yeah.
Is it the Maokai first item?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to mention that I have seen top lane Maokais, even here in VL, but not just. Start tier and then proceed to go 0-4 in laning phase.
I
I'm
mean,
I'm not sure about this here Maokai, especially in the jungle. Like, yeah, sure, you're gonna be spamming spells. Apparently, you're gonna get for the dragon, because why not? I guess when you have a winning bot lane, that happens.
I
But you
I am quite perplexed. I'm not gonna
don't
lie.
go tier on Maokai. I
You
don't
go
know.
Fimbulwinter, I would assume, but
Yeah,
you
that's
don't need the mana sustain in the jungle. You're wasting 400 gold for a delayed spike. Like you could get better tank items that are just like you don't need mana regen coming through from the jungle. As we see
oh,
here, Stereo taking a really strong trade in the mid lane. Phasor sees proc. The shockwave comes through for poison threat, but it will be the solo kill coming through from Stereo in the middle lane. The threaded volley doing its job, and Stereo proves his superiority.
there shows you what a real tier building champion does. Yes, the shockwave comes through, but the only thing the shockwave does is actually get Stereo into melee range of the Orianna to help him hit those threaded volleys, securing first blood for the Frostbite mid laner
Yeah,
and
I mean,
current reigning Div 3 mid lane champion.
yeah, I mean, the Stereo a lot of times has been the shining light in the dark for this Frostbite Equinox roster. You were mentioning it earlier in the Celestial Light series. He actually had a pretty great game on the Silas, even though that series did end up going 2-0 on the side of Celestial. But this guy he's quite good at the video game on his champions.
Yeah.
As you see
A
here,
young
he keeps
talent.
forcing. There's no flash on the Orianna. He is fully aware of that. The threaded volley doesn't quite land. He also tanks a turret shot, which is not great, but did Nova Nomi just cue the minion?
I don't. I'm no, that was the shield, but like I feel like is he not
No, there
maxing?
was a minion with the armor shred icon, so he queued the minion because crushing blow
You know,
reduces
yeah,
armor.
yeah. I
Hi.
wait. Okay,
We go for
that's how it works.
3
That's how it
die.
works. No, yeah, he's not maxing Q.
Wait,
There's
he's
no
not
way Q does
maxing
that
Q.
little There's no way that Q does that little damage. If
I
it's
mean,
3 ranks in.
3-point Q doesn't deal that much damage, I'm not gonna lie, but as you see here, more fighting on the top side. Hodgson finds the disdain on top of the cannon. He uses the the Maelstrom to just disengage. Hodgson is forced to reset here, but I do think he wants to catch the wave. Breach hasn't used his teleport yet, but Hodgson has the Merc Treads proving helpful in the fight. But this will mean it is priority again for the side of Afterlife Rose Quartz. They will guarantee themselves the 3 early grubs, denying them the potential of the split push coming through from the Urgot.
Yes. These grubs. I mean, and yeah, neither team kind of really needs priority, or like really hopes they get them. Obviously, ARQ getting them puts them one step closer to those feats of monster slaying, so that's good for them. They only need one more objective to get those, as they did get the first dragon of the game. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened with that mid gank. I guess no, did get the kill. Obviously, it was the Maokai who got the kill back. Actually, it wasn't even the Oriana, so that's good for Frostbite, I guess.
Yeah, I
But
mean, getting resources onto the Talia and the Wukong is probably what you want to look towards on the side of Frostbite. They will be your main team fighting power. The Cive is probably just your late game insurance at this point, but the farming fine being almost 15 CS up in this bot lane for the matchup that started going so ruinously for Infinity, the Frostbite bot lane have seemed to be able to stabilize the situation a little bit here. And now, yeah, then again, this wave will crash, so a lot of CS will be caught back up by the Jinx as the Maokai is on the bot side, trying to cover a possible dive. He will just take the control word instead, as the Frostbite bot lane elects to reset on this pretty good timer.
yes, I mean, Infinity has the call. He is going down those stacks rather quickly. He is already at 58 down, so he has only 42 left. He's gonna get a big gold chunk when he finishes it. Gonna extend the lead that he currently has on this bot lane. 10 CS, I'd say is about 200 gold, 200, which doesn't sound much. But like you can, just looking at the inventories, you can see that Infinity is a good 900 gold ahead in pure stats with that slingshot and the longsword that he picked up on his early recall. Meaning
He
that
also has an extra recall on top of everything, but as we see here, more trading happening on the top side. Hodgson strong with that level 9 now, and Lorgot did this. The Purge is just a toggle ability now. Doesn't have a cooldown anymore, you can just use it to trade, but as we see here, a possible catch on Aeryatar. The Maokai might just be going down, the Cyclone comes through, the Tether comes through, but the Lulu ulti buys enough time, the Shockwave lands on Infinity, but nobody has fallen yet. The second part of the Cyclone is used to knock up the Maokai, but nobody's dead yet. The Jinx is free hitting. Everybody is hitting different targets. Nobody's getting a reset. The Jinx rockets land, the Zap lands, and finally, the first kill goes down in the fight, and the feats of warfare will be claimed by the side of Frostbite Equinox. Now, Odjin is here. He has the fear beyond death available. He lands it on the Maokai, and the Maokai being 1 HP, he gets eaten up by the Dreadnought of the Zone. Woo!
that was a fight. A fight we've seen. Maybe it's not over. Or is there people think? Nope, they're not going to be looking for anything further. Okay, so Frostbite get the Ocean Dragon. They stop ARQ from getting those feats of monster slaying, but that fight kinda showed the power of having a tank and having a Lulu. As Lulu, using all her cooldowns, her ultimate, her shield, her heal, on this Maokai, extended this what seemed to be a good pick for the side of Frostbite into a very, very extended fight, which even required for Hudson to TP into it, which now also increases the farm lead for the side of Reach, ARQ's top laner, to near 20 CS, as Hudson will try to pick up as much as he can from this wave that's under his turret. But yeah, a good fight in the end of it for Frostbite. They get the kills, they get the dragon, but it was very, very messy.
Yeah, very messy fight. It felt like there was not a lot of target selection being called for on either side, I feel like. Because you could have just fully committed on blowing up the Maokai after the Lulu ult goes down, and you still had the second part of the Cyclone to go through, but as we see here now in the inventories, the first item spikes starting to come through on the side of Frostbite. Some first item spikes also coming through on the side of ARQ, but as we see the Trinity Force being completed for Novanomi on the Wukong, this is the first big power spike for this champion. The second one coming through once you have the level 11 plus the second item really become a very, very annoying presence in these fights once you have that Sundered Sky. But as we see, the Archangel stuff still being stacked currently by the side of Stadio, but it is completed in his inventory. As you see here, this might be just a punish. The Cyclone goes down. One flash going down on the side of ARQ, and it will be Novanomi picking up the kill on the Oriana. As we see here, fighting happening in the bot side. The Sivir ult is used on the hunt for this Jinx, but it will be nothing, as the Jinx is forced to flash though. So on the side of Frostbite, good use of the utility to just burn that ultimate, burn that summon, that very important summoner on the side of ARQ. A Jinx
Yes.
fighting without flash into a Wukong, man, that's tough.
It's going to be difficult. And not only looking with this invade here, I mean, Stereo is here. Maybe did he get this one? I'm not
They
sure who.
find the shove onto the Maokai, but it is very difficult to kill a Maokai that's just building full tank. The Nature's Grasp goes down. In the meantime, the Jinx is just getting caught. There is just more damage when you're two people, but Reach has found the flank. He finds the Maelstrom. He blows up Infinity, and now the re-engage is a possibility. There is no tools to re-engage, but Reach will just flash over the wall, finds the stun, finds the double kill. One-man shove coming through from Stereo, but it will be a shutdown going over to the Orianna. ARQ punish the greed, they punish the overextension, they find the engage, and they get 3 kills. 2 of them going into the pockets of their top laner, who is truly becoming a menace into this game. Almost very close to his second item already, as we see here Lulu just being a menace, a pest in the Frostbite jungle, delaying Novonomi's recall.
Got with the hand in the cookie jar, except they didn't even get the cookie. Uh,
I feel like they
Novanomi.
got 1 cookie because they did kill the Jinx, but
Okay, yes, fair enough. But like, Novanomi and Stereo looking to invade for that to steal the buff away. They fail to because Araitar manages to get his buff. And then they look for the fight. Yes, Infinity and Sushi managed to catch out the Jinx between the turrets and kill her off rather quickly. But then the cannon comes in with this TP and just like wins the whole fight, gets those 2 kills. And
see
as we
here a
see,
little bit of a skirmish happening over the Herald, but now there is no key ultimate on the side of the cannon. There is no possibility to fight. The Urgot is still ultimate strong. The Urgot, Hodgson has quietly been on the sideline this entire time. He is likely down in gold on this cannon, but he has that Black Cleaver completed. He has those boots completed. He does also have the level 11 that it has tier 2 ultimate on the side of the Urgot. It doesn't change much except the initial damage. The execute threshold is still the same. And yet, the important breakpoint for this Urgot is now going to be the level 13 once he gets those, the infamous shotgun knees at their lowest cooldowns, 2.5 seconds for each. But as we see here, the Herald now being popped in the mid lane with the Drake coming up on the side of Frostbite. We're looking to crack this turret, use the pressure of the Herald to then move first into the river with priority. Stereo is walking up a little bit too far in my opinion, as we take the Herald for some reason. We could have just left it mid to pressure, but we move into the river now. As we see here,
yes.
Hodgson has been using the timer to chip away at the turret. Reach could be getting caught here. The stain doesn't quite find the flip. As we see here, Frostbite will be getting that Drake, will be getting, I believe that will secure them the feats of Monster Slaying, and as such, the feats of Warfare will go on the side of Frostbite. As we see, those upgraded boots are coming through. Hodgson finds the flash, finds the fear beyond death, and the little rat is now dead. But as we see here, Hodgson might get punished for his overextension. He is fighting. He almost manages to buffer the shockwave, but the shutdown will go in the pockets of Poison Thread. The Orianna keeps picking up kills. And as we saw at the beginning, getting solo kill doesn't really matter when you play around your team, and the shockwave will almost always have value.
Yes, indeed. Hodgson gets to solo kill, manages, even though he was at 1.20 CS behind, that TP that cannon got the 2 kills, managed to, alright, Jinx can cut
As
again.
we are now engaging onto the Jinx under this tier 2 turret, there is just more damage on the side of Frostbite at this point. The Cyclone comes through, the Lulu almost goes down, Novanomi is forced to flash away from Reach, and I think he will just escape. I think we missed the utilization of the Weaver's Wall by Stereo to delay the wave to make the dive happen. Because I saw the wave coming through the jungle. So I do think there was a usage of Weaver's Wall to just try and cut off the wave to make the dive happen, to just buy more time for the Frostbite waves to get under turrets. Really smart utilization of the Weaver's Wall here by Stereo. I think he's just showing his prowess here on this champion. But ARQ now, not really out of reach in terms of gold. They're only 1k behind. But here's where my issues come through. I look at their items and I am I'm scoffing, you know?
Mhm.
Because when I see a Storm Surge second item on an Orianna, I have questions. You know?
Uh, I agree. My questions are mostly related to the second to the storm not storm surge, excuse me, to the shadow flame second item on the cannon, where you'd probably want Zonia's even like at least as a second item. I don't know, maybe because he's ahead, he's want a bit
I,
more damage, but like
I think he's trying to push the lead that he has with the Storm Surge. I think it made sense considering he reset earlier and just where it was able to buy both components for it. I think the Zonias make sense if you if you had omniscience and you were able to just tell that the game was going to go this way. As you see here, Stereo flashing under the tier 2 turret doesn't quite get the kill. The Fated Ashes burn doesn't quite secure the kill on the cannon, but he will still secure the 700 gold from the tier 2 turret going down. As finally the second invade will find the blue buff for the side of Equinox. As you see here, the Maokai Ariatar here is kind of looking for an engage, but they will back off. They will respect the just raw amount of damage this Talia can deal in any focused fight. The Wukong just being able to deal so much damage in these fights with the Cyclone. There's a reason I feel like this champion is usually taken away from the side of Equinox, and it's probably just one, it's comfort, two, it's one of the better jungles on the patch. But as you see here, Dan is just caught a little bit into the no man's land, ends up giving up a freebie on the side of Frostbite. As you see here, Hodge using the disdain to trade with the cannon. Those Merc treads are really doing work for him, being able to just mitigate the stuns and mitigate so much of the damage coming through, considering there is very little flat pen coming through on the side of AR, on the side of Reach. As we see here, the Atakan will be started almost on spawn by the side of Frostbite. There is no vision of this happening on the side of ARQ, but they will trade for the tier 1 turret in the mid lane, looking to just get this Jinx a little, whatever few resources they can get on the map. And as we see here, Frostbite might be looking for a collapse. The ARQ sagely disengage through the topside jungle.
yes, Frostbite secured the Atakan, while AirQ only get back a tier 1 mid lane turret for it. Yes, it is getting much difficult for Reach to fight against Hodge. In a point, disagree with your comment about the ban, because like all three items that Reach currently has give him magic ban, so it's not like he's that low on it. But like, still, it's gonna take a lot of poking and probably an Owen using that Maelstrom to actually deal with Hodgson and just the raw HP that Bruiser items give him right now.
I
Also,
I just saw something and I'm not sure I like it.
let's see if I can try and guess what that might be.
Oh god, I would got it in chat. Why are we
Oh,
buying that item on Wukong when Starex is right there, or we could complete a Sundered Sky?
I
Why
mean,
are we buying
it's
Hex
against
Strength?
triple AP topside. I don't know. I don't mind it, I guess.
I don't think it has as much value as it requires to be bought before completing Sundered Sky. I think Sundered Sky is just a better item to have right now. As we see here, the shove lands onto Ariatar here. This Maka is getting a little bit bullied here by the poke coming through from Stereo. As you see here, 2 items completed for almost everybody on the side of Frostbite. The Hodjo, I feel like, is very close to completed. It's Sterax. You see Nomonomi picking up that extra, so it does delay his timer for the Sundered Sky. As you see here, Frostbite looking for the fight, looking for Ariatar, as he dodges the Fear Beyond Death and Reach on the flank. We were saying about the X factor of the flank from the cannon, finds the triple kill, ends up going down, but ends up being a 4 for 2 on the side of Frostbite. As we see here, Nomanomi not in the fight, just chasing the Lulu. Instead of
And he's
he's gonna get caught. There's still a Seraph's the Archangel staff on the Oriana. I'm not sure he can quite kill here. No, and as he gets slowed down, it's another shutdown going in the pocket of the Jinx. It is an ace on the side of ARQ. They do not end up getting the Drake, but it ends up being 5 4-2 for the side of ARQ. And this Jinx getting any resources, not what you want on the side of Frostbite, but praise be to Reach. He found an amazing flank, blows up 3 people with the Maelstrom, and just turns the fight.
It was a very interesting fight, I want to say, because it was definitely, we saw this team fight combo that we talked about in the draft. It was the Orianna Cannon. Sadly, we do not have replays, but I feel like Maokai. I'm not sure. I have to rewatch the replay maybe some other time, but like I feel like Maokai pushed out. Oh, is Cannon just delete Sushi?
Bye, Sushi.
I feel like Maokai actually it was the anti-combo. I think Maokai like Bramble smashed people out of the Orianna ult, and then just Kennen just showed up and got an instant triple kill with the Slicing Maelstrom.
I don't know what the Maokai did, but he did end up dodging the Fear Beyond Death thanks to the to the W. So Maokai moment, Pog champ. As we see here, Stereo finds a kill on the side lane. That powerful Talia on the side lane that we were talking about in the draft. These really strong side laners on the side of Frostbite can make the game a little bit more difficult, but now the gold is pretty much even. But it does feel like the gold is lopsided. On one side, it is, as we see here, a little bit of a catch on the side. This Wukong is still really strong, and the cannon is just so much squishier. Ends up going down to the Wanomi, as we see here, that the state does not land thanks to the Maokai W. Now the re-engage is coming through from the side of ARQ, but they will not overcommit. Does not end up being a kill on Hodgson. Also, Hysteric doesn't get popped somehow. I feel like he was below 30% health. But are Frostbite starting a Baron? I guess the cannon is dead, but he has TP available. He still almost has ult available, and your health bars are not that high, especially on Hodgson. You're taking a very lopsided fight. If you fight in this choke, there is a possibility that the Jinx just gets one reset and you can just get rolled over. But as we see here, Stereo is currently doing some little bit of poking, little bit of getting poked back, but the Baron ends up going down. Ariatar tries to get into the pit, but it's not enough. The disengage is trying to come through on the side of Frostbite. And as we see here, the rocket coming through from the Jinx gets spell shielded by Infinity.
It's not over though. Here comes
are we still
Reach.
chasing?
Just trying to recall. I think the recalls are gonna come through here. Yeah.
We're doing a little bit of a grief recalling, almost getting caught by the enemy top laner, but the flip play, the T1 Baron works out for the side of Frostbite, ends up being not for naught. Nobody goes down on either side, but Frostbite take home the Baron.
Just wanna mention the Maokai is finally online. The Winter is fully stacked and ready to give him shields.
Hell yeah, it's not like we could have bought Locket, you know?
Locket is a support item. We built real man tank items here in this game.
102.3 real tank hours. As you see here, Ariatar might be gets caught by the shove from Stereo. He is alone here. What are you doing here, you lone little tree? There's nobody to offer you a branch. Ends up going down with Drake coming up really soon for the side of Frostbite. It will be Hexel. Playing into Hexel is nigh on impossible. One of the worst souls to play into because of the consistent hook and slowing.
Especially against Silver Talia comp and
also,
Karma.
Tier 2 also goes down here for the side of ARQ. Equinox. Once they get their hands on their champions, it seems like they have an idea of how to play the game. At least to how to close it out. This is a very high tempo game. 27 minutes, Soul will go down, but I feel like they're not utilizing the Baron enough. You have the advantage of the Baron push. And here, you're just letting ARQ contest almost for free. You're clearing vision in two different places. Reaches, again, found a little bit of a flank window. He probably could find an engage. He's waiting for that flash to come back up. He's not quite there, but the Nature's Grasp now goes out. The Soul ends up being claimed for the side of Frostbite as they now engage on top of the Wukong. The Wukong does not go down as the Fear Beyond Death finds 3 with the Fear. And the Jinx cannot play. Hodgson finding the Flash Fear to blow up everybody. It ends up being a 5-0 and the fight and the game is over. Frostbite, point, game.
Who needs an engage when you can just flash with or got ultimate? Hodgson finds the 3-man Fear Beyond Death and just wins the fight for Frostbite outright. That, yeah, it was a very, very very shaky game. A really good showing from the side of Stereo and really good showing from the side of Infinity. Hearthstone, despite the bad early game, also managed to pull it out. Eventually, it's finally game one goes to Frostbite.
Frostbite taking game one in this best of three against Afterlife Rose Quartz. Feel like the game, we had a lot of questions going into the game, but this time for this one game, once Frostbite get their hands on their more favorite champions, it feels like they have a little bit of a better idea on how to play the game out, and at least how to secure windows to close that. But without further ado, 1-0 Frostbite. We will see you right after the break for game two.
Yep, see you then.
Screaming in the cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
And welcome back, everybody, for this game between Frostbite Equinox and Afterlife Rose Quartz. Equinox finding the fight to end the game in a snap end at 28 minutes last time. I wonder what will change going into this game. Too, the sides stay the same. Frostbite on blue side, Afterlife Rose Quartz on red. But now Afterlife Rose Quartz have bans, so I wonder what changes as we see the first two bans coming through are the Volibear and the Azir, while Frostbite's bans seem to remain mostly the same. The Sejuani is different from the game prior.
The Ari is also different from the game prior.
That is true. There's no there is no Braum ban coming through, but as we see the Callista being taken away as the last ban from Afterlife Rose Quartz now. With everything that was taken away in game one on the side of Frostbite, what is their blue one this game? Are they
Mm.
looking for any carry? Are we looking for jungler?
Oh, Jarvan? I was gonna say, knowing Nova Gnome, it's either gonna be the Vi or the Jarvan. I would expect the Vi, but I guess Jarvan is his preferred pick
It
here.
will be the standard of the Masia, the Jarvan getting locked in as a blue one pick for the side of Frostbite. Now, the big issue I run into now on the side of Frostbite is if ARQ pick two mobility carries mid and bot, this Jarvan has a really difficult task of getting into this game. But the Poppy will be the first lock-in of this side of ARQ, likely going jungle in the hands of Ariatar. He played tank game one, probably going to play this tank here. Champions also into game two. Poppy is a skill matchup into the Jarvan. Jarvan has ways to outplay the Poppy, but the steadfast presence makes it really difficult to engage through a Poppy. Now, you need to blind something on this red too. I wonder, do you take an AD carry with some mobility? Do you take a Tristana, Lucian, something that can just mitigate the gank?
Uh,
Ends up being the
uh,
okay. Oh, oh, huh?
Price last second change as
I'm not sure.
Ash goes.
I'm not sure you wanted to do this change, but Frostbite after that game one, going back to the tried and true and tested. If in doubt, draft circles.
Yes, indeed. And this time we have easier circles, as Victor is still being covered here for the side of Stereo, which is a Zero band with the Ari band by Frostbite. I do think the Victor is his like next best champion that he can pick.
With Oriana
And
gone and Talia gone, and
oh
with the
yeah,
bans
oh
coming through
yes,
of the Azir and the Ahri, it's probably one of the better picks remaining in the mid lane. Probably the
bro,
Hui
yeah.
is the other one,
I mean,
but
Syndra is also still open. It's not and if we're talking like pure team play prio, Annie has actually been seeing a lot of prio by pro teams, which is yet
sure
another
enough,
circle
we saw
champion.
we saw Night Blind picking it game three in the series against G2 the other night, just taking
I
it
believe
blue
it was
one.
game one.
Yeah. Oh, it was game one. I was just confused. But as we see here, the third lock-in is a blind pick top lane, I would assume. The Gnar coming through from the side of ARQ.
And the Nar was actually one of those first rotation bans in the last game. So I guess Afterlife's top laner has really high priority on the Nar, as he does get locked in here, and I expect to see two top lane bans coming through. We see the
Mm,
Malphite is not sure. I guess Olaf would be a good ban as well. It is against
mm,
Hodgson after all.
Probably another tank or the Trundle is not something I expected. I do think Trundle is not that great of a matchup into the Gnar. Gnar has ways of outplaying it that guide it. Now, I wonder what do you do take away on this last ban? Do you take away a mid laner? Do you take away a support? Because I would assume on the side of ARQ they're giving R5 to their support. With the mid laner on the side of Frostbite being already picked, you're just giving your support the most amount of agency possible. But the two best pairings with the Ashe are now gone. The Braum and the Seraphine, which we've seen currently in pro play, are the two most sought after. We're blind picking support to R5 mid lane.
Classic hook when we need to
I
triple counter. I mean,
we're on red side and we're somehow getting double counter picked by blue side.
it's fine. This is how we drafted in Nice Arc as well. I always get
Uh,
mid always gets R5. It's a must. It's a must.
didn't you
Anyways,
R didn't you R3 Katarina?
uh no, we blue 5'd it.
Right. As we see here, the last few bands coming through, the last few picks coming through on the side of Frostbite, as the Amumu gets locked in. I do think this is going to be in the hands of Sushi.
I think so as
Sushi
well.
on an engaged champion is a tale. A tale as old as time, they would
Yes,
say.
unless it's Jarvan top and this is an Amumu jungle. And now we see the support Leona coming through.
I, that would be certainly a choice. Jarvan
We
does
don't
do
see
well
anything coming through
as
because
Frostbite missed last pick.
yes,
It is the Nocturne coming through from the side of Frostbite. Thank you, production,
Nocturne.
for that quick note. I did see the guys talking about it. It is Nocturne top lane. After some people in Korea started playing it, the Husband was like, "I want to play this champion."
I think he's about 3 years late. As Nocturne Soul Lane got nerfed to his sustain. He doesn't heal as much from minions anymore.
He indeed does not, but the R5 comes through from the side of ARQ, and it is going to be the Syndra in the hands of Poison. I won. I'm not a fan. I am not a fan of either of these drafts.
True.
Actually, correction. I'm a fan of the Frostbite draft until our Blue 5.
If honestly, I'm fine with the Frostbite draft if it's Jarvan top and Nocturne jungle. Because Jarvan can actually get on the can gap close this Gnar. But Nocturne top into Gnar. Aren't you just
Well,
gonna get
Nocturne,
like I don't know.
when Nocturne does stat check, if you do get the Duskbringer onto him, he leaves the path and you're ghosted and you get movement speed. So you do manage to get the trade on top of the Gnar. Once you do have the fear tether, you can look to trade back, but it is difficult.
Yeah,
Jarvan
but
Top is something we did see a bunch, like what was it, 4 years ago at Worlds as an answer to the blank pick cannon, because you just outpoke and then you all in with the EQ, like Eri Jarvan Top with Emax.
the AP with a Doran shield start, the Doran ring.
Yep,
Yeah. That's also like the essential to the support Jarvan, to the AP support Jarvan, but at least there the E gives them attack speed to your ADC.
yep. But a little bit of a cook, I would say, for both sides, for different reasons on each. I I am questioning some choices. Let's say let's leave it at that.
So what? Once again, I feel like it's the same story as last game. Afterlife have rather stock standard front to back comp. They have the Ash Nami, they have the Narut, Poppy here to stop the Jarvan, the Jarvan engage, the Amumu jumping in, and then you just have Syndra who can like obviously get those multi-man, scatter the weaks, just basically the infamous outplay button, just remove either the Victor or the MF at eventually after like 2 or 3 items. And for the side of Frostbite, we said they needed easier circles. Okay, sure, your forced four were fine, but this Nocturne,
I
I
mean,
don't
it
get it.
creates chaos in fighting, which is something that, like, a composition like this that requires a lot of, like, well, not a lot of coordination. It just requires you to just, basically play together, and, like, adding chaos to that is probably good. Plus, it makes it really difficult for this ARQ comp to fight on the sides and to push up side lanes, because the
I mean,
Nocturne can then, like, collapse together with a Jarvan or with an Amumu, and it kind of just makes your life a living hell.
it added chaos to us too as well, I guess.
Hmm?
Uh, I mean, yeah, I can see the idea behind the Nocturne. Obviously, you shut off vision, and then you just drop your circles without anything being able to react to it. I was actually thinking in the previous game for the side of Afterlife that I would much rather see the Nocturne over the Maokai. Well, yes, you do lose that tank. Nocturne Cannon is a
It would
tried
give you
and
that
true combo.
window of engage. It
Yes,
would give you
it
the better
does.
window of engage. Yes.
Yes, it does give your cannon a chance to actually get on that backline without being spotted and cause that chaos that you like to mention in these games. here, I don't know. I feel like champions like Jarvan and the Mumu don't really need a powerful ultimate like Nocturne Ultimate to like get the flank, the engage, like whatever you need, because like you just flash Q on the Mumu or like Jarvan EQ flash and like you will do the engage. Like you are unstoppable in your ultimate, so Poppy can't stop Jarvan ultimate. And like once you're in there, and it's like it. Afterlife drafted Ashe, Syndra, which are extremely immobile into this first pick Jarvan. Like this is another, I feel like is a mistake in their draft. Like Ashe, Nami, Syndra have no way out of this Jarvan ultimate.
Yeah, I
Sure,
mean the one thing that like really like doesn't quite make sense to me on this IRQ draft, because I do understand that maybe you want these more mobile carries just because of comfort. The Ashe is really good for setting up picks and setting up fights. But then the Nami kind of just throws a big spanner in the works in my head, because you have another thing that can be singled out and blown up. One single Amumu bandage, and it kind of just makes your bot laning almost impossible. MF walks up, auto double tap, and then you're chunked for what, 600 HP? And then you're just stuck there, taking terrible trade after terrible trade. So I guess we'll see what's the idea behind this Nami. I do think the Nami is a good idea in terms of counter engage. You lay down the tidal wave once you see all of the circles go down, and you try and buy space and buy time with that. But I don't know if you're gonna have the chance, because I do think the Nami needs to be close to both of these damage dealers, and the Frostbite engage is going to look for those damage dealers.
I
So I
mean,
guess we will see once we get into game.
in my experience with like drafting things like and ending up with drafts, I feel like the idea here for the Nami is an extra harder to deal with way to stop the MF ult, because Nami ult is quite a lengthy spell, and like Ashe ult can be blocked. Like you can't block Nami ult. Nami ult will go through your entire team and it will CC everyone like in the path you sent it. So in a
Mhm.
way, this Nami is like as long as you're in range enough, a surefire way to stop the misfortune ult. The problem is, like, you're just so susceptible to the rest of her team. Like this Jarvan, this Amumu, this Victor. Like you get this team just works too well, even with this weird Nocturne top. I'm guessing it's top. Like we still haven't. I don't think we've gotten confirmation if this is top or not. Okay, I just got confirmation it is Nocturne top. So like even with this Nocturne top, let's say it's a specific lane counter, the rest of these four champions that Frostbite have can team fight just fine. Like, and what Afterlife eSports have on their side does not want to team fight against these champions at all. Yes, sure, Poppy will stop one dash, maybe two, but like, who cares? If Jarvan ults, he did his job, and then like you just drop those big circles, as we like to call them, and you're dead, and that's it. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
going back to your Nami point. At that point, I was very like, I get like using the ult to interrupt the channel of the MF ult, but at that point, why don't you just pick Leona? Like you didn't know that the Nocturne was gonna come through once you picked it. The Solar Flare is still the ability that just denies that channel of the bullet time. Plus, you gives you that bit of extra tankiness that you can look for in the bot lane to just try and take trades back into the Samumu MF lane. But I guess everything will be shown once we are in game, as we are going to go to a very quick break right before we get into game. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, but
Welcome back, everyone, for this game 2 of the series between Frostbite Equinox and Afterlife Rose Quartz. As we get into game, and it is going to be the Nocturne top as we were discussing during draft. Apparently, it's been picking up some steam in Korean solo queue, but what has really, picked up steam over here is Corin's current subscription to the channel. Thank you again, Corin, for the 6-month subscription to the channel. Love you, mate. Let's see.
Let's see.
A little bit of a nothing burger happening right now. No one only disrespecting the level 1 emote off, be dropping a flag on the puppy's head. Not really sportsmanlike. Not really what we like to see over here on the Frostbite channel. But as we see here, everything seems to be on the regular in terms of keystones. It is the aftershock
Aftershock again on Poppy. I don't know about that.
I think it makes sense. You're not really looking to run everybody down as the Frostbite comp is just full engage. Aftershock just gives you that extra little bit of tankiness that you can just then hold down the fort with and survive that extra second or so in the fight.
I think usually it's the phase rush for the jungle Poppy. I think is the rune of choice for the higher EVO players. And like I get the idea, obviously Aftershock's still good and Poppy can proc it fairly easily, like 3 of her abilities proc Aftershock. But still, we'll see. I feel like it's not consistent enough. Like, let's say you block a dash and it procs the Aftershock, then you're like not going to be tanky. For the ensuing fight, I feel like there are better choices. Plus, Poppy's kind of built bruiser-ish, right? What's that item called?
Sundered Sky into more
into...
Dead Man's Blade.
Yes.
As we see here, a little bit of early skirmishing in almost every lane. We're looking a lot at this bot lane, like the Ashe Nami. I think playing into a Mumu and not taking cleanse on the side of the Ashe is a little bit criminal. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he has said he does need a barrier against this all-in like burst that he's gonna take from Jarvan, like the Nocturne ultimates that are gonna start coming in and obviously the Victor damage. But yeah, I agreed, like you'd probably need cleanse against the Samumu.
I mean, it's those two champions you kind of have to take cleanse against. It's the Amumu and it's the Leona, where you can't afford to not take cleanse in this lane, and probably also the Braum if it's paired up with an Ashe. But I guess we will see what their outlook is. But as you see here, Stereo forced on the Victor again. As we see a little bit of an engage, Sushi finds a beautiful bandage toss on top of the Nami, and this is what we were talking about. There's so much damage coming through from the Amumu, but the kiteback is good from the side of the Pandalorian. Finds a lot of damage going down on the Mumu. Mumu uses the heal, uses the bandage toss, finds the stun. The flag and drag does not come through, does not find the knockup, but it will be first blood for the side of Equinox. The kill goes on to Sushi, which is not the greatest, but it's still a kill for Not.
Yes. No Nomi here on time to protect his bot lane. Manages to get that assist and first blood for the side of Frostbite once again.
Yeah, as you see here, helping out the push to get the wave under the turret. I think it's good to just try and get a good reset timer to make sure that you get the wave under the turret. Hodgson currently in this top lane, suffering through the pain of playing into a range top laner with a lot of poke options. The Gnar is one of those premier picks when you know you're able to just win out the lane. As we see here, Poison is kind of just getting poked out by Stereo's Victor. And as I was beginning to say earlier, Stereo, known for his Victor, also known for not liking to play Victor.
Yeah, that's a bit how most mid laners sound like.
I remember when I first started to talk to him about joining the roster, he was like, I do want a clause that I never have to play Victor on this team. I'm like, I can't guarantee that.
Yeah,
I think after the season on Mad Men, where he was forced to blind pick Victor almost every game, he was kind of just burnt out of the champion.
happen. If you ask most mid laners if they think Victor is strong, they're gonna say yes. If you ask them to play Victor, they're gonna say I don't know, something that I'm not allowed to say on stream. So you know,
Yeah.
that's
Well, if they're gonna
just
do what Patricio did,
no, no,
and
not
not
really.
really.
But
But as we see here, the steadfast presence blocks the bandage toss coming through from Sushi, but the second charge goes through, finds another stun on Ariatar, and they manage to bully out the ARQ jungler from this Drake. Novanomi will be able to start it. And as we see here, Ariatar going again towards this board, just tank focused build, the chain vest in the inventory, probably going through to the Deadman's Blade. I wonder now if you just decided to play tank, you're really relying on your bot lane and top lane to finding a way to get a lead, because otherwise you're really lacking the physical damage.
you know, this is gonna sound like crazy, but there is still the off chance this is going towards Iceborne Gauntlet. I'm pretty sure that's built still through to the
Yes,
chain vest, not yeah chain vest. So
Chain Vest does build into Iceborne Gauntlet, but Iceborne Gauntlet in the jungle is. If it was top lane, I would agree. Like it would be really good, but in the jungle, you don't get as much value from having the sheen and the slow. But I guess we will see what this build develops into, as now we are settling into a more cushy situation for the ARQ bot lane, finding a lot of push. The Nami, if she has one thing, it's poke. So she's just finding ways to keep the bot lane down on the side of Frostbite. Infinity and Sushi just doing their job and being able to move in case a fight starts, as we saw there on the fight for the dragon. As we see here, Stereo using the Victor range with the Death Ray with the Siphon power to just poke out the Syndra from the lane, having that Fated Ashes in the inventory, making that poke hurt more and more every single spell he lands. As we see here, the Syndra is extremely low. I think we're 1 E away from death, or we 1 E ult away from falling, but I guess we will see. As we see here, Wave crashing in bot lane. Stereo flashes forward, the Arcane Storm finds the kill. Ariatar is there to trade it back, but it's a kill on the Victor, accelerated stacks. And yeah, if Stereo has been currently the dynamo for the side of Frostbite, being proactive, finding the kills in the mid lane, moving his lead around the map. Where Stereo goes, Frostbite win.
yes, indeed, and Stereo just completely wins this matchup. He is 26 CS ahead. He just gets the solo kill in the 1v2. We saw him upgrade, getting his first Victor upgrade after getting that kill, which should most likely be on his E. Now the wave clear is going to be he's just gonna drop that E and clear the entire wave. And yeah, I mean, Stereo is just going to be this driving factor for Frostbite, and he will need to be going forward into the playoffs as he gets caught here.
Yeah, I think Stereo's just dead here. The hop forward from the Gnar, the crunch. They find the fight. The Gnar is just really strong here, and they also just have the man advantage. Frostbite do get the grubs, to get all three of them, but that's it. We got the grubs, and then we lost our mid laner. We just spent this time talking about how Stereo is the important piece for Frostbite. They need to rally around them, they need to play around them. And then we see this collapse come through, and Stereo goes down. A kill goes on to Reach, who has been the dynamo on the side of IRQ. So now I wonder, like, what do you rally around? Because you're also just getting bullied out of your own jungle, and your composition does need items. But more importantly, you all need level 6. And I feel like we're not playing already. Like we feel like Frostbite are not playing around their big power spike, which is getting level 6 on everybody and looking for a pitched fight. As we see here, Hodge looking for a bit of a trade back in the top lane. Sushi a bit out of position. It's only level 5 Sushi. See here, the stun lands, but the stun also lands on Infinity, so no channel of the ultimate can come through. Now it comes through the bullet time, forcing 2 summoners out of the ARQ bot lane. But now Infinity has decided to stick around because Stereo is coming into the rescue. Infinity Flash Auto finds the kill onto the Nami. I feel like Stereo is going to be a little mad about that one, considering he had the burn taking onto the Nami, probably could have found the kill. But Infinity says, I need resources, I'm DMF, I'm playing AD carry, I need gold. flashes forward, gets the kill.
Indeed. Good kill here for Synergy, although the feats of warfare have already gone towards the side of ARQ. This MF, while she is getting out slightly outranged by this Ashe, she will have, her job is to be,
Ooh. Reach, almost finding the solo kill. Hodge flashes away from the flash boomerang from Reach. This Nocturne is not having the intended effect. He is currently 30 CS down in the matchup.
yes.
So, I mean, I do understand that Nara is not probably the easiest matchup for it, and Reach is probably really confident in Nara considering he blind picked it on Red 3. But as we were seeing here, a little bit of a joust around the mid lane for positioning around this Drake fight as the arrow comes through. The lands of Stereo, the TP is coming through from Reach. The stun doesn't land from Poison. Stereo is trying to walk out, puts down the gravity field, but it will not be enough. Poison finds the first kill. Reach is now here looking for something, but there's nothing to have except the Drake to take. It's another play, another good tempo play on the side of ARQ, but they are giving up plates in the top side. Codson is getting some time alone with the turret, gets 2 plates, manages to back off. As Reach did burn the TP to make that play happen and also did not get an assist.
I love when that happens as a mid laner. You roam, your TP, you try to help, and then just get 2 kills before you can even show up. You know, that's just one of those things that happens. But yes, Hodgson slowly catching up, trying to reduce that gold lead that Reach has due to pure farming and that 1 kill. Getting 2 plates, but now he is kind of stuck there in the middle of the lane. It's just going to be Reach. I think he's just going to slowly push it and keep chipping away at Hodgson's turret.
I think there's a strong chance that Hodge is currently calling for a bit of action to happen considering Reach has no TP, he has no he has no flash. There's probably a play to be made, but No No Me is currently just loitering in the top side pixel brush, not doing, just kind of waiting for a chance, I would assume. But he ends up just fully recalling, ends up being nothing. Advantage ARQ right now, very slight, but there is an advantage on their side. I do wonder, on the side of Frostbite, when are you going to start to group? When is the go button of saying, okay, we need to start grouping up, we need to start doing what they're doing to us? Because currently, ARQ, they're not really doing anything fancy, they're just grouping every time, they're just calling for people to come around and just fight with more people. You see here, Stereo doesn't he really have the chance to trade back anymore as he takes this really bad trade into Poison, and Poison with the completed Ludens just has access to more burst and finds the solo kill. You see here Reach in the top side, currently fighting Hodgson. Hodgson may just die to the last auto as Reach ends up getting the solo kill onto Hodgson. This Gnar is really proving to be an issue for Frostbite, and ARQ just seem to be just winning around the map right now. Stereo finding so much pressure in the early game, finding the solo kill in the 1v2, roaming and trying to get his team ahead, and yet the Syndra is the one that's 3-1 and 2.
Yeah, it's a bit of unfortunate for Stereo, although he did manage to get that as Nomi gets cut here. Does he get cut? He gets stunned. It's a lot of damage.
Goes down, eats
Told
a
it.
bunch of damage. There's
Just for
another
that
one
one
going down.
ward.
But it
But-
is the why it's
It is the
Hey.
Iceborne Gauntlet. Or,
Hey.
or you're talking about Nomi's
I was
Eclipse.
talking about that, and also I was talking about the Eclipse. Like, as we see here, the arrow goes down in the bot lane. Does not. They do find the stun onto Sushi. The great flash curse of the sad mummy ends up stunning too. There's no trade back to be had when you're stunned, and the Frostbite bot lane gets a kill onto the MF. As we see here now, Hodgson trading in the top side. Now that he has the Stride Breaker completed, you can see the damage. You can see the idea of the champion going down. But as we see here, the Gnar misses. The crucial piece of the damage for Ariatar misses. And as such, Hodgson gets to walk with his life, but there's definitely you can feel the advantage on the side of ARQ for the top laner. Hodgson is probably waiting for that paranoia to come back up. I do feel like you have another window to kill once you land it, if you have that paranoia available. you're kind of just in a lull right now, but you do have the Stride Breaker completed. Stride Breaker does give you the chance to run the Gnar down to guarantee that Fear Tether. It's just a question of do you have enough damage to chew through the tabis right now?
I'm not sure if he does, especially with this what I expect to be a frozen heart coming in second item. Um, I mean, luckily for Hudson, Reach missed his Gnar ultimate, which probably saved him there. I don't know, maybe Gnar wouldn't have had the damage. I guess we'll never know. But as the fight goes around this Herald, as Sushi gets caught.
Sushi is caught, ends up falling to the sole one-man Gnar coming through from Reach. Frostbite TP Stereo up to the play. They want to contest this Rift Herald, but I don't know if this is the fight to be had. You do not have your main engagement right now. As we see here, Aryatar walking back into the river, Stereo trading back with his spells. Aryatar does not find the stun. As the Nocturnal finally goes down, Aryatar is currently getting chunked so low. One more auto, and Hodgson finds his first kill and puts it on the board. Flashes back into the pit, just in the face of Poison Threat. But as we now see here, Novanomi is trying to find a kill. Flash Cataclysm onto the Nami, but it's not enough. Reaches on a killing spree. Stereo is just trying to zone them out, but I don't know if you have the position. A flash forward coming through from Reach. The stun from the crunch misses thanks to the flash. We are fighting in a choke. MF is looking for the window. You can feel Infinity with his trigger finger itching. Cancels this channel once the ult comes through from Sushi, but the fight comes through. Ferio finds the two-man Chaos Storm, but it's not enough. It's a 3-for-5 on the side of ARQ, and an excellent fight coming through from the side of ARQ. Reach is definitely proving why he is able to just blind pick this champion.
A really big fight here for the side of ARQ. Yes, it started to look well. We saw the MF ult just an idea earlier before the Curse of the Sand Mummy, but as soon as the Amumu ultimate did come through, the MF ult stopped. I didn't notice if it got cancelled. Maybe he had to dodge a CC or something. But this fight, a really good fight. Nar gets back his ultimate, gets a two-man Nar on that top side wall, and it's just a clean fight for the side of ARQ, who also secured the Rift Herald and the Chemtech Drag. No, sorry, Chemtech Drag goes to the side of Frostbite. But yes, the ARQ do secure the Herald here.
ARQ secured that Herald. I do wonder if it is like as we see here, the fights keep going on ARQ side, but the gold lead hasn't been growing. It is only a 2k gold lead at this point in the game, but I don't know which comp on either side has an edge in scaling. I think the MF ult will just become more and more useful as the game timer goes on. But then again, this Gnar is going to be such a threat on the side, and this Syndra is going to get their stacks of despair and anguish and just one-shot the AD carry. But as we see here, Infinity completes his second item. It's his Essence Reaver completed on top of the BT for the MF. This MF is able to deal a lot of damage now, but as we see here, Reach might be overextended. Hodge lands the fear, Sushi is next to him, and he just doesn't keep going. As you see here, the Herald pulling pop in the mid lane. Finds the charge onto the tower. As we see, Novanomi is overextended. He gives the Poppy the angle to engage. And it's another kill on the side of ARQ. As we see now, Sushi and Hodgson hovering mid lane, looking for something. Stereo's there, but gets caught by the Scatter, the weak stun. The ult goes down with the last volley, almost burning him down, but Stereo lives, and Infinity lays down the bullet time just to clear the way. A lot of action, and yet the only kill is on Novanomi.
Yes,
Ay.
I'm not sure what the idea was. I guess they were trying to defend the mid turret from the Herald charge, but at the same time, Nomi was threatening the engage. He had a Mumu and MF near him, but it was just that. It was just threat. It was just an empty threat. And ARQ call his bluff. He gets heroic charged into the wall, and he just gets absolutely one shot. Infinity can't do anything to save his jungler, and this turret is very low HP now. Like ARQ just need to group one wave under it, and they are going to get that mid wave tier 1, as I feel like there's a dead
Oh,
Victor here.
poor Stereo, poor Stereo. This is a very dead Victor, as you seem to be
As soon as
delaying
somebody
his
hits
death,
skill shot. Yes.
as the last heroic charge from the Poppy takes down the Victor. But as you see here, Stereo, with the fact that they didn't decide to commit fully for the kill, he bought enough time for his team to just complete the Atacon here. The smite they saw is bot lane, so he just secured themselves the Atacon. There is now a 4k gold lead on the side of ARQ, to be honest, so I don't think it's all roses on the side of Frostbite, but they're trading back. They're getting something's done on the map. You see here, backs getting cancelled, especially for Sushi, but the push coming through from the side of ARQ is currently just stifling out any possible source of income on the side of Frostbite.
Yes. AirQ are just playing the map much better. Yes, sure, that two-man kill that happened onto Stereo with Araitar being theirs gives Frostbite the easy Atakan claim. However, they get that mid tier 1 and tier 2, they just got the bot tier 1 as well. And I don't think you win that fight. No, nope you don't. And Hudson will just
No,
spell shield that boulder.
Novanomi
Oh,
just gets run down by the Gnar. The boulder does not, the stun doesn't quite land, but the Gnar doesn't. And so Hodgson gets to walk away thanks to Infinity just showing up and making it rain a little bit to try and dissuade the assault. But honestly, Reach, we saw glimpses of this in game one, but it was just so difficult for Equinox to just pull through. Now in this game too, he's having an excellent game here, just setting the tempo for his team, being able to just make so many things happen around the map, moving around and just trying to find windows to make plays happen. Now, it is not over. The wombo combo is still very relevant, especially on the side of Frostbite. It's just about, we still haven't seen it. We still haven't seen the combo come through in one fight. We saw glimpses of it. We saw a Curse of the Sad Mummy onto one to just secure a kill. But that's kind of really about it. It's really been just about it for now. As you see here, the second Chemtech Drake has now spawned on the map. Frostbite are looking to contest it. They are at a deficit, but they will try. I think you're looking for a possible window to engage. Sushi trying to find the bandage toss. Nomanomi trying to find the flag and drag, but so much tittering, and the Drake ends up going down, and Nomanomi is just blown up. And after he gets stunned by the Scatter of the Weak, I what I am flabbergasted. What is happening?
we're trying to do a combo, but only a few
Oh,
people know what the
Stereo.
combo is. Stereo should be fine after the flash, but it's like I'm I'm confused. Like, I feel like this Nocturne shouldn't be grouping. Like, if you need Nocturne ult just for the vision denial, just tell the Nocturne ult. Like, it's gonna do the same job even if Nocturne is not with the rest of your team. Sure, you're not gonna have the Nocturne, but I feel like the whole point of this Nocturne is to just be a split push threat that can actually 1v1 the Gnar on the side lane. And forcing the Nocturne to group is just... okay, so she gets a good ult here,
Finds a
but...
good engage. The bullet time comes through, but it's too late. Hodge tries to dive onto the AD carry, but they're too far. There's no follow-up damage. Novanomi is now here, but it is a 2v5. 2v5. No Stereos here for the necessary wave clear, as Infinity cancels a few resets. But now the cage is still available. The Cataclysm is still available. The gravity field
Stun?
goes down. And that's kind of just it. Why are we not committing more onto that? Why are we not throwing down the Cataclysm Chaos Storm? At least we're trading back a few kills.
Maybe it was the two tanks that got stunned. It was the Nara and the Poppy, so I guess maybe that's why not. But like, I don't know.
But
It's
you need to take what you can get at this point. You just gave up a turret for almost nothing. Like,
I feel like Sushi has had really amazing ultimates, but it's like how at least half of those ultimates it was either defensive, where she was trying to save one of her teammates, or it was like there was just nobody around her to follow up. And
Sushi now. The stun
jeez,
lands from the Scatter the
yes.
Weak and the rundown from the Nara comes through. Reach is able to find all of these windows for free in every single one of these fights. It's just too simple for the side of ARQ to find the engage and to just punish any kind of extensions, any kind of vision challenge. We see it like every single time. Sushi is tanky, the Mumu is tanky, but not tanky enough when there's four people hitting you. As the Baron will start going down for the side of ARQ, do Frostbite even try and challenge it at all? No, we're just pushing the mid lane. As you see here, the turret, the tier 1 turret will go down. Is it a worthy trade to trade one tier 1 turret for the Baron? I do not think so.
Not at all, no. As Stereo gets caught in his jungle, Reach just hops away, and there's no fight to be had there. This game is looking really rough.
This game is looking very, very difficult. I do agree. Frostbite Equinox kind of put themselves a little bit in the hole to try and find all of these fights. It does also fall on the hands of Sushi, but as we see here, Reach and Poison just miss every skill shot. Now they do land one.
As Sushi gets caught and will eventually fall to the Poppy. Yes.
Poppy ends up claiming the kill, but that is Gnar ultimate. And again, to be honest, Gnar ultimate is such a low cooldown, doesn't really matter. The heal gets burnt from Sushi just trying to get away, that you have no control over the top side jungle, you have no control over the bot side jungle. Frostbite, you need to force something, you need to try and find the fight somewhere. The arrow is now used to fight the side of ARQ to try and find the pick, but they do not land it. The stun now lands from the Scatter the Weak. That's a two-man stun coming through on the gravity field, but the turret will go down regardless. Frostbite, what are you looking to do now? Like, you need to find a pitch fight somewhere. You need to try and just throw down the combo. Just throw down Cataclysm, Chaos Storm, and MF ult. You have to try something. It feels like they're just letting ARQ choke them out of the game.
Yes, it really feels like Frostbite aren't really communicating that what each person like. Somebody just needs to say group with me, like, and
See here.
uh,
What?
okay, well, to go in
Find
the
the
Nami
pick
is that
onto the
something?
Nami. Now we keep on fighting. The Poppy seems to be out of position. We seem to be chasing onto the Poppy, but he finds the tackle into the wall, knocks away nobody out of the fight. Poppy ends up going down, but Gnar finds an excellent animation cancel onto two. Finds 2 kills late up for the Syndra. The damage is coming back from Stereo. Finds 1 kill and a 1k gold shutdown onto the Ash. But the 2 big damage carries are still available on the side of ARQ, and it ends up being an ace for the side of ARQ. I can applaud the proactiveness, at least on the side of Frostbite, but it is still a losing fight. You should be now it will be Soul Point on the side of ARQ, and maybe even a mid tier 3.
Frostbite after 28 minutes finally get the team fight going how it should be. We have I don't know if I want to comment on how that fight started and the combo Nomi did on to down on this Nami, but everything that happened afterwards was pretty good. The MF was the MF ultimate even used? It's off cooldown right now. Maybe
It
it's
was
just
not.
was it? Oh, it was not.
It was not because not enough CC was landing. The infantry was just trying to lay down as much damage with autos as it could, because the fight was so disjointed. Like the first engage was something, and
Yeah.
then the fight kind of just evolved. I think it's good that you find the pick onto the Nami and then you turn onto the Poppy. The Poppy also finding no kick out of the fight was really good on the side of Frostbite. I think you kind of just need to keep this tempo going on the side of ARQ though, because even if you go 5 for 3 every single fight, as long as you have one damn healer alive, you can still get things done on the map.
Yes, like as long as I feel like for Frostbite here, as long as Infinity is alive, they can win fights, and then like they can do stuff after the fight. But Nozomi gets cut from the Ash ult, and he should be going down here. Yep, hammered back home. As ARQ will be looking to siege this inhibitor turret here on the bot lane actually. As here comes the Reach with the wave.
Rich shoving in the bot wave now. The fight is getting primed. You can see the trigger finger is itching as the Scatter the Weak lands onto Infinity, forces him to burn the cleanse. You see here Stereo cleaning out the wave in the bot lane. Sushi tries to find the engage. The tidal wave delays it enough. 2 flashes coming through. No bandage toss lands. So many flashes burned and nothing's happening. Now Reach looking for the flank, finds the double hop onto everybody, finds the shove onto the Gnar. Gnar finds a 4-man engage, and the bullet time almost shreds through the entirety of ARQ. And now the kiteback begins. As you can see, Frostbite are trying to find the fight. The Syndra will end up going down. 1k shutdown onto the Victor. It's a 2-for-0. This is the combo. This is the fight that Frostbite are looking for.
And Frostbite find the fight, they find the combo. It was an amazing 4-man Curse of the Sad Mummy, followed up by the bullet time. Stereo and Infinity both pick up a kill in this fight, 2-for-0. It's impressive. There is a chance for Frostbite after all. This MF, 3.5 items going towards that Lord Dominic's regards, can carry these fights if given the right ultimate, especially with how the attempted to engage from the side of ARQ went. Reach trying to do the animation cancel again with the jump, however over jumps, only manages to hit the Gnar onto the Amumu. Amumu even buffers his Q, so it doesn't even do that much. He just dashes back into the Gnar, and then that 4-man Curse of the Sad Mummy.
Sushi currently being the MVP for the side of Frostbite, just finding these massive engages. But as you see here, as soon as I praise her, gets caught out in the enemy jungle, ends up going down, and the Baron will go down for the side of ARQ. The Mega Gnar has subsided. If you are Frostbite, you have your jungler up, you can maybe look for something, but it is just really difficult to just try and find something. But as we see here, Frostbite are now walking in. The Syndra is disjointed. It is a 4-for-4, 4v4 at the beginning. You're looking for an engage with the Nocturne. You're going onto the Ashe. You find the bullet time, and the Ashe ends up going down. Does the Gnar go down? Not quite. He finds a transformation, and the scat and the ultimate ends up killing the MF. Infinity does go down as we see the chase down continues, and one shot in your shotgun and you don't kill the carries. We see glimpses of this comp working for the side of Frostbite, and yet every time it feels like we're missing a piece. As we see again now, we see Nomanomi getting caught out of position, trying to get something, trying to delay this pattern, but it will end up just going down for the side of ARQ. Sushi is now here, does not have the smite available as she is not running the spellbook. Will end up just backing off, as this will be battle on the side of ARQ. The big fight is happening at the next Drake. We can see the pings in the chat probably laying up for it, but it's so hard to fight. As we saw there, without Sushi being there, not providing the CC, it's really difficult for Infinity to find the window to lay down the bullet time. But now the LDR is completed. The LDR is completed on the MF. It's a 4-item MF. That bullet time will shred through the entirety of ARQ. You just have to find the angle.
Yes, indeed, they should. This will be Chemtech Dragon Soul for the side of ARQ, so Frostbite must contest this with everything they've got as Sushi gets caught.
As we see Sushi getting caught, uses the Curse of the Sad Mummy to try and buy space. Infinity does not pull the trigger on the bullet time, and this will just be a Drake on the side of ARQ. Chemtech Soul makes it so much more difficult to play for this Frostbite comp. You're relying so much on CC, and you're giving them Chemtech Drakes, which give tenacity, and it makes it so much more difficult. As we are still trying to possibly contest, as we see Nova Nomi steals the Drake, but the Cataclysm isn't quite lined up enough with Infinity's ultimate. Now the chase down begins with the tidal wave coming through. Stereo is laying down the gravity field, trying to get some space between the Gnar, but the Gnar is so quick, he just runs down the Victor, and now it's a 2v5. Hudson just tries to just back away, the spell shields the tackle, but the Gnar is so huge. Infinity is just trying to lay down whatever damage he can, but the stun lands, the bubble lands, the power unleashed lands, and it is another 2 kills going over to the side of ARQ. Sushi now respawns, but the Baron top waves might just be enough for the game to end here for ARQ. It was a valiant attempt towards the end of the game, but it wasn't quite enough. ARQ had accrued such a lead in the mid game that it wasn't enough for Frostbite to look for the play. As we see here, Sushi's just getting knocked back into the base, and it's 1-1. We're going to game three.
We are indeed going to game 3. Hopefully, Frostbite can finish the series with a win.
Yeah, it is just difficult. It feels like there's a bit of a disjointedness on the side of Frostbite, which
Yes.
I don't know. Like we're 6 weeks into the season. Feels like a little bit of these issues have kind of been underlying towards the team, but I'm
We
not
live
here to
and we
comment
learn.
within the internal dynamics of the team. I'm here to comment League of Legends, and as such, we will go on a short break, and we will see you back for a draft for Game 3. Don't go anywhere.
See you in a bit.
And welcome back, everybody, for this thrilling Division 3 series between Frostbite Equinox and Afterlife Rose Quartz. After a dominant Game 2 performance coming through from ARQ, we're going into this Game 3 looking at a very different, I think, side on the side of Frostbite. You tried something in Game 2, didn't quite work out. Now what do you do? Now what is your next option? As we see here, the first pick comes through. It is the
Right.
Vi picked up or the side of Noanomi.
Yes, Vi is one of Nomi's champions. It is one of his most played for during the split, and Vi is a very strong champion right now. Obviously, that cease and desist, a very secured engage tool in most cases. Obviously, there are still champions that can either buffer out or just straight up cancel it, but it is a pretty stock standard first pick.
Yeah, I mean, we see as a first pick for in everywhere from VL the 4 to the pro play, So the
Yes.
champion is kind of just omnipresent. And as we see here, there seems to be a bit of a okay. The bug seems to have rolled out. As we see here, the 1-2 coming through from ARQ is Ari Ivern. The
Uh,
answer for Frostbite is the Silas.
I mean, it is. We've talked about it in the previous game. The Silas for the side of stereo, he did look good on it the last time he played it. I understand the Ari pick. It is to deny the the Ari Vi combo, and stereo is a good Ari player. The Ivor Rockin is interesting. I'm guessing they're looking for some hyper carry bot lane for the Ivern to keep safe.
Yeah, probably
As
something more towards that auto attack late game 3 item hyper carry. The Saya is a choice. I'm not a fan of the Zaya in this situation. I do think you want something a bit more forward stepping in the situation, but I can see trying to just neutralize the possibility of this Vi engage. But on the side of Frostbite, guaranteeing yourself the Varus, I would assume you're probably going towards a more poke build. Seeing the enemy team, the Serpent's Fang value for this team is really high already. So I wonder now, what is your next pick? What do you look to secure together with the Varus to try and round out this draft? We will likely see Mr. Hodgson blind picking again, just like in game one. In
I
game
mean,
one, he had access to his most comfortable pick, so we'll see what they decide to go towards for this game too. But as we see here, the bans coming through from the side of ARQ, it is the Trundle and the Malphite again. Now, what is left in the tank for the Frostbite top laner?
I just want to mention it's interesting. This is the first draft where the first three picks are actually matching. So this time we won't be seeing like blind picking champions into uh
Mismatched blind picks.
yes, mismatched. Exactly, that's what I wanted to say. Mismatched blind picks.
But as we see, the last few bans coming through, the Cho'Gath gets taken away from the side of Frostbite, as will the Seraphine. What do you pick on for here for ARQ? What is your red for to
I'm
lay up
really
the
mixed on
possible
this
counter?
because in a way, okay, they're gonna go rail. I wanted to say Zyra Khan is obviously probably one of the best combos, but Rakan is really bad into Silas because Silas loves stealing Rakan ultimate. So it will be the rail, which I don't know. Why are we picking engage with Azaya?
I mean, I think it makes sense. You want some degree of engage. I would have liked the Leona more, considering you have an Ivan Leona, one of those tried and true combos. But I guess we'll see going forward what the choice this ends up being. The Rel is really good for team fighting, ends up being a really strong champion. But
Kana.
as we see here, the Morgana getting locked in for the Sushi in the bot lane, really wanting to just deny that engage, deny that go button coming through from the side of ARQ. I wonder if it will be enough going forward. What do you lay up with it with your R5? Because you need a little bit of front line on the side of Frostbite,
Yorick.
as
Oh.
Mundo gets locked in for a side of Frostbite. This scaling hyper tank in the top lane think it makes a degree of sense, just trying to like delay the tempo of the game a little bit.
And Gwen
In getting
gets
the
picked up as an answer to the Mundo.
okay, yeah, yeah. I do think again the drafting is gone a little bit off the rails for both sides. On the side of ARQ, you have no front line,
True.
and your one engage tool can get blocked by a single spell. On the side of Frostbite, you have almost no kite back. Well, no, you not really don't have a kite back, but you don't have way to deal with their overwhelming engage if they get on top of your carries. You have no peel tools. You have the Morgana, but Morgana can peel one person. So I do wonder if, well, like, what are you genuinely looking for with this draft?
This draft is so. I mean, it's such a weird draft from. I'm mostly looking at Afterlife's draft because, in a way, the Zaya pick here is perfect. All of like 3 of Frostbite's champions want to go in on you and fight you in close range. The Vi, the Silas, and the Mundo, which is exactly what the Zaya wants. She wants people to be running at her, her running back, pulling those feathers, dealing the pull through damage, etc., etc., etc. But then you have Rel, Gwen, Ari, and
Yeah,
those are
and
champions that also want to go in and to just, Ari wants to dash around, hit those charms, which is going to be very hard to do with Mundo having his one-off CC removal and Morgana having the Black Shield and Silas having most likely more often stealing the Ari ultimate. So
yeah,
he'll have enough mobility to dodge. So it's
it
like,
feels like a bit of a disjointed draft on the side of ARQ. This is something. This is honestly, this kind of vaguely feels like a Frostbite Equinox draft from last split, where we kind of left the AD carry out to dry, and we're just picking because it's a good matchup.
it's okay. It's Luna on Zaya. They got this.
I
Um,
don't. Mm.
mm,
Mm.
Honestly, I was thinking a bit like separately these champions that Afterlife have dropped it just give me big celestial nods here. Like you have the Gwen, which is like the Stevo. You have Zaya, which is like for Luna and stuff, and like the Sarient things. But like, it's such a weird like.
It's an odd draft for sure. I do think, but there is a like it's about we also thought the RQ draft was odd the game prior, and they just ended up pulling through. So I guess we will see once we get back into the game. But right before we throw into a break, before while we wait for the game to go live, can I get a quick prediction for this game 3 result, Fulbus?
Give me like a 10-second timer to think.
Can I get the countdown music production? I guess while we wait for the optional opinion for our analyst tonight. But I do think Afterlife, their comp could work from what we've seen of them, where they're just able to kind of outhands Frostbite, while Frostbite comp is just kind of plain better in a 5v5 setting.
Okay, I got it. I'm gonna give it to Afterlife. I just looking at those drafts a bit closer. Who's killing this Gwen? Unless this Gwen goes 0-10 in 5 minutes, who's killing this Gwen in team fights? From the
Fair
side of
enough.
Frostbite.
Fair enough. That is truly a concern once we get into game. But we will be right back, ladies and gentlemen, while we wait for this game to load up. Do not go anywhere.
Did it hurt like hell, falling through the clouds to be free? Oh, free. It was hard enough for me to fight the storm.
And welcome everyone to this last game of tonight's series between Frostbite Equinox and Afterlife Rose Quartz. Again, I am Harold, joined by Vulpes for this cast. And as we're getting into game, we see pretty, pretty. I feel like both of these comps have one piece that is kind of unfitting of what they're looking to do, but it's in different roles. For ARQ, it's the AD carry. For Frostbite, it's the support. At least in my opinion. Think
I don't know. I feel like maybe I'd say for ARQ, maybe it's the support. For Frostbite, I don't know. I think Frostbite comp is fine. Would there be better picks? Yeah, but I guess we are talking about game 3 Fearless, so not all the optimal picks are left available.
that is sure not everything that was maybe both teams would have preferred to pick is currently available as of thanks to the fearless system. And as you see, a little bit of a early presence as we see Stereo starting Q in this lane where he knows he kind of has to relent lane pressure to just farm up with the Q, try and get whatever he can, and then once he gets level 6, just hard fight. Because this is the kind of lane he has. It's a melee into range. If you don't all in this lane, you just kind of just end up bleeding out and losing. So you do want to try and engage at some point. But in terms of the laning advantage, I would probably, in terms of laning phase, probably give it to ARQ for 2 out of 3 winning lanes. Top lane and mid lane, but the bot lane is definitely winning for the side of Frostbite. Novatus is the end will be all currently of AD carries, and if you just hold that priority, you'll just be fine and end up bleeding the enemy bot lane out of the game.
Yes, indeed. I just wanna mention 2 very interesting choices. Actually, maybe even 3. I don't know. I'm not too sure about one of those, but like, and what I'm talking about is both of the mid laners' choice in runes, and obviously Sushi's choice in runes, where Stereo went for the Electrocute on Silas, while Poison Threat went for the Airy on the Ari. So Airy Ari usually means it's going to be Roa into Liandry's. Or at least that's what it was about 2 months ago when that was the go-to build.
I think it just means that Poison is just going to try and rush the Oblivion Orb to deny as much healing as he can from the Silas, but the Silas isn't even running D-Shield. Like, I don't know if you remember the 2022 Worlds meta of like Silas Ari mid lane, where he would just mitigate the lane on the Silas by playing the shield second wind. But as we see
Also
here,
plays
Stereo in the mid lane finds
Stereo.
the solo bolo. Well done from Stereo. Well done to Stereo finding the angle to get the solo kill. We were talking just about the matchup, and this is kind of the threat that Silas brings to the mid lane. He's just having the ability to just find the window to just hold in your enemy and take them down. It's
Yes,
kind of
indeed.
all that Silas can do in this laning phase to try and mitigate the pressure. But now we see more training on the bot side. There's the slight XP advantage and push advantage coming through from the bot lane of Frostbite. Nominomi moving into the enemy jungle after it's full clear, laying down some vision. Probably would expect a reset soon, trying to just keep the tempo going on the map. But we see here he's loitering around mid lane, maybe looking for a gank. With this Ari still has flash available, so it will end up being nothing, just some time wasted in around the mid lane. Now he is starting the reset, and it does feel like the side on the side of ARQ, they're looking to start the strike immediately.
Yes, they are, but this fight on bot lane doesn't look very good for them. Oh wait, unless Infinity picks up that kill onto the.
Finidry finds another
Yeah.
another kill going into the back pockets of the Frostbite gang. One more, and it's feats of warfare completed. But we are the more poke lands, the binding lands, cleanse forced out of the Pandalorian. And now this is a very, very oppressive situation to find yourself in the case of ARQ. You're playing into the spot lane without a cleanse. This is a Morgana, this is a Varus. As soon as that level 6 hits, you can tell that the Chains of Corruption are likely going to fly out. So you see more training in and around the mid lane for Stereo. He is just trying to get as much pressure as possible. I do think the Electrocute makes sense. You're looking for shorter trades. Conqueror would be fine, but I don't think there's enough frontline on the enemy team to warrant going for the Conqueror.
I mean, Electro is fine for lane, I guess, and most of the characters on the side of ARQ are on the Squisher side. It's just later on, I do feel like the Sari will go for a bit of a tankier build, simply because of this area and because I guess that's what it warrants with all this like all win that
Stereo
Star
looking for more
finish.
training in the mid lane, forcing the flash out of Poison Threat. More fighting in the bot side. Infinity claims the third kill for the side of Frostbite. The root lands from Sushi on the Ivern. More trading in the mid lane. Stereo trying to find the kill, but the last dash from the Spirit Rush ends up claiming the kill for Poison Threat. Trades back in the 1v1 as the Drake goes down for the side of Frostbite. It ends up being a 3-for-1.
Yes, three for one for the side of Frostbite here. Mundo will get some time alone, maybe gets a plate even on the top side, as the Gwen TP does not do absolutely anything here, doesn't get an assist. Goes back, buys the go, will be going what I think that's. I'm not sure if that's going to be like we'll find out. It is going towards the
Likely a
Haunted Guys.
Riftmaker.
It's either Riftmaker or Leandries. Going for that first item.
I'd
As
say there's a
Ari,
higher likelihood of being Riftmaker, but
most likely, as Ari seems to be going that amp. It could either be the Blackfire Torch build, which is it is like percentage wise, it is probably the better build win rate wise. However, a more likely chance is this could be the just a Malignance, which if it is, it would still makes me question this choice for Airy. But we'll see. As
I mean, I think the area was supposed to be paired with an early Oblivion Orb to just try and deny as much healing as possible from the Silas. But we haven't seen it come through, so you know we're just making assumptions as of right now. And as we see here, more trading happening in the mid lane. Charm lands on the side of the Ari, but the Electrocute lands thanks to that last Chain Lash from Stereo, equalizes the trade. It's a lot of back and forth, a lot of back and forth. Both of these sides, but as we see now the gang coming through in the mid lane, the season desist Ari's life. Another kill in Stereo's back pocket, 2-1-0 on the Silas. And Frostbite, they seem to be off to on a way better footing than the last game.
Yes, we actually see Frostbite play around their mid laner this time, seeing that even in the last two games he was that driving force in these games, and now with Nolomi ganking mid lane, getting the kill onto the Ari, she not having Spirit Rush or Flash still up. Good kill, good lead for Stereo here.
Yeah. I think that having Stadia with the lead, with the way that we've seen Frostbite play, just having the agency to try and find something is probably the way to go. As we see here, ARQ will secure the grubs for themselves. They want to guarantee the Gwen to have more presence on the sideline, and the Mundo can. The Mundo, of course, you know. But I think we've all seen enough of the Mundo content as of right now. That again, thanks Alois for unleashing this thing into solo queue. But when no slouch on terms of side lane pressure, we see a bit of around 20 CS lead in top lane. But again, there's the biggest differential I feel like is still coming down to the spot lane. The Infinity and Sush are getting so much push. They're getting so much denial of presence on the side of ARQ that it's just really difficult for them to do anything. You see here, Novanomi charging up the Vault Breaker, but it will not end up being nothing. The ARQ are not falling for the bait. They're not walking up. They're not trying to do anything. As we see here, Frostbite spot lane more than happy to just get the push. They are sharing XP, which is not that great, but what can you do, man? These junglers.
Junglers need XP too, even though he is higher level than his bot lane.
As you see here, taking over to level 7, and now the Chains of Corruption still available on for Infinity. The cleanses come back up for Pandalorian, so it will not end up being a trade going down. You see here trading in the top side, the needlework ends up being popped for the Gwen. As we see the flash ult coming through from Hodgson to try and just survive the last burst of damage. Ends up surviving, burns the flash for all the ultimates. I think it's a good trade on the side of Reach, as the Gwen can just keep having this laning presence. Went from about half HP to full HP thanks to the healing from the passive.
Yes. And to the ultimate being used, but
Well, the healing from the ultimate still comes through from the passive as it applies. So, but we see the first item already coming through for a few Frostbite members. We see that the Yomu's Ghostblade completed for Infinity. The Seeker's Armguard getting picked up by Sushi on the Morgana, already looking to be a bit of a more aggressive Morgana than maybe what we're used to seeing all around the world, a bit more of a threat trying to find those big engages in the team fight. As you see here in Novi, trying to find a little bit of an engage onto the Ivern, but it will end up being nothing as the root collar lands onto the Silas, but they decide not to follow through as the Scuttle will fall for the side of Frostbite and subsequently the Drake.
yes, that will be the Mountain Dragon for the side of Frostbite. Mountain and Chemtech are actually really good dragons for the comp that Frostbite have, or at the very least for their soul laners. Both Silas and Mundo enjoy fighting while on lower HP, so they can get that maximum value of those heals from the ultimate and from the Silas E as he goes in.
You see more trading in the mid lane, and Stereo just finds the solo kill with the flash getting out. Thanks to the Spirit Rush, the Iron gank will not pan out. Stereo finding another solo kill. Really, really showing why he should have been played around in that game too, as we see a bit of around a 3k gold lead for the side of Frostbite. As Stereo picks up his first item, it is that Hextech Rocket Belt. He's trying to be even more of a playmaker, and the first item for the Ari comes through. It's a Ludens. See here, Nomi finds the Vault Breaker on top of the Brom, on top of the, not Brom, Ivern, but it will end up being nothing, no follow-up as Stereo was getting back to lane.
This Ludens is a choice. It's not a good
It is
choice.
indeed a choice, but as we see here, Novanomi might just be caught out. As we see, the needlework comes out for the side of Reach. Novanomi was invading the enemy jungle. He charges up the Vault Breaker, gets it blocked by the flash from Reach, but then the third charge of the needlework doesn't come through, and as such, Novi gets out. Charm lands in the mid lane. Stereo tanking a little bit of damage from the Orb of Deception, but we all saw what the Silas is able to do in these shorter trades.
Yes,
See,
Silas. Oh,
Chains of
good
Corruption go
plans.
out in the bot lane. Infantry trying to find the trunk. There lowers the Pandalorian to half HP. An arrow landed and the Pandalorian super low. You see here Stereo more training in the mid lane. The binding from the Morgana does not land, and Poison just gets out scot-free.
Good trades overall for Stereo. Having the item, both mid laners have their first items. Stereo having the Textual Negatron Cloak does help him out eke these fights. But also having a level advantage does help a lot.
Yeah, level it ends up helping quite a lot having that extra XP, having that extra level. But as we see here, a little bit more fighting happening all the same right now. You see,
Yes.
you
There's a
see
look.
fighting over for position, fighting over for vision, really. You see here, Sushi is kind of caught in the middle of no man's land, but Stereo is back and ready to help. The root collar comes through, the Zaya ult comes in now. The teleport is coming in from Leech. Stereo needs to try and get out, but the chase is coming through from the Ari. He has already stolen ultimate. He cannot steal that spirit charge. The needlework comes through. The crashdown finds the last bit of CC, and the shutdown will go in the pockets of Leech. As we see, the chase keeps on continuing in Frostbite's jungle. Infinity and Nova are just trying to get out as Sush did die off screen. Frostbite pleading for a play and ARQ just pulling the trigger. But then again, all in the meantime, Hodge has just been pushing tower in the top lane.
That tower's gone. That's for turret.
He,
For the side of Frostbite.
push or something. He has that Warmox completed. He had that extra Giant's Belt. Probably has the Grasp stacks to back it up and probably will kick in with that regeneration. But as we see here, the Herald will start going down for the side of Afterlife Rose Quartz. I do think Frostbite have the tools to possibly contest this, but you don't have the positioning, and you're still moving the Mundo around. You could have probably brought him into this fight, but it will end up being the Herald going down for the side of ARQ. As he hears Sush a little bit out of the position, the Celestial position will fall down. The binding misses, but it will not be punished.
Yes. There was no real way for Frostbite to contest this with Nonomi being still on the bot side of the river. Dragon will be spawning in less than a minute, and I expect that to be the next fight. I think ARQ need to start contesting these dragons, as this would give Frostbite dragon point soul. I'm not.
Soul point.
Yes, soul point. I'm trying to. Oh, it's Inferno soul actually. So it is a big soul, especially for this Varus, who if he gets to proc each, that explosion oh, Zaya getting caught
Oh,
out.
a little bit of an engage happening onto Desire right now. The seasoned assist will be used. There is
Stop.
the Magnet Storm being used as Nomi is caught in the middle of no man's land. The exhaust will go down on Stereo. The Morgana all trying to buy space. Stereo finds the kill, but will end up falling to the Gwen. As we see Infinity just trying to lay down as much poke as he can, but there's not enough space. Hodgson, in the meantime, picking up the tier 1 in the bot lane. Infinity is still trying to make the poke happen around this dragon, but the redemption will come down from the Ivan. They're all full HP, and nothing will happen. Drake to ARQ.
Yes. First dragon to ARQ, getting that Infernal dragon. Okay. Blanket mouse. Let's see who pushes first. It is Dari.
As we see here, Infinity kind of getting chunked down in the mid lane by the Ari, taking a little bit of a fight that I don't know if you can take at this point, as we see Hodge now strolling up to the mid lane, maybe looking to push. It is Stereo instead, but maybe he's trying to look for the dive as he misses. The abduct part of the abscond abduct ends up getting out with his life, but it ends up also being Ariadar being next to him. Procs the electrocute, doesn't quite have the sustain, but somehow, some way, he is out.
There buys enough time, people chase him, but his team somehow doesn't manage to get that mid-tier one.
I would
So we're back to the ARAM.
Space creative question mark?
Yes, if I'm Stereo, I blame team. I ask why isn't the third down? I took 3 people to chase me, and you guys just didn't do anything.
I my eyes. I feel like we're going downhill ever so slowly in this games, but you see, the Stereo tries to make the play happen mid, misses every single skill shot, somehow gets out of his life. But as we see now, the push coming through, Infinity is now sitting on this mid wave. The Varus, very renowned for his pushes. Sushi lands the binding onto the Rel. Everything is being thrown onto this Rel, as she will end up falling down to the last piercing arrow. Those will also be the tier through to one going down in the mid lane. As we see, fighting in the top lane, Hodge is currently fighting the Gwen. Gwen still has one charge of that needlework. Hodge pops the ultimate and ends up living the fight. Hodge is he, he's not even an issue. He's just bothersome at this point.
Yeah, yes.
Just
I mean,
very annoying to deal with.
the Reach actually already has his 2 items on the Gwen, so he can, as we
But
see,
behind the Frostbite lines,
yeah, but there's nobody there. They're walking just towards the top
you
lane.
see the Spirit Rush going out. Morgana maybe has the Black Shield available, but he will end up falling immediately, and the Charm still goes through. As the Gwen tries to find the engage, but the Mundo is there to try and buy space. The binding lands onto the Ahri. There's no more charges of the Spirit Rush. Aryatar finds the route onto Infinity, and that allows the Gwen to find a way into the backline. The Gwen is now currently being focused down, but the last snip finds enough healing. It's a double kill for the Gwen, and it's a winning fight for the side of ARQ.
Yes, big fight for ARQ. We mentioned that the Mundo can just push while the Gwen is fighting. Well, then we just fight when we're with Mundo and Gwen together, and the fight goes. Well, it goes 2 for 2 actually. There's no real good winner, but Gwen does pick up the 2 kills, and she might be looking to pick up a third, unless, yep, nope, Stereo is not able to win this out even with the stolen needlework, so that will be a 5th kill going over to Reach.
Rich is picking up every single kill, and we saw in that game too, he was the driving force behind ARQ. We saw it even in game 1, he had those glimpses of brilliance on the cannon. Can he do it for a third game in a row? Can he be the guiding light for this ARQ roster, as he's currently contesting division against Sushi? Sushi lines the binding, and as we pan over to mid lane to see a missed Chain of Corruption.
I mean, it is the most missed pro play ultimate for a reason. The most missed skill shot, I think it was called.
Yeah, most missed skill shots in pro play or something.
Yes, something like that. As ARQ are starting this Atakan, which will go to them as Novanomi is somewhere on the map. I just can't figure out where. Oh, he is pushing mid lane. Yes,
with the rest of the
his
team.
Varus.
And Hurley Hodgson is being matched by this Ahri. I don't know why we're not using the Mundo properties of you have Warmogs, push into hit turret and take whatever poke, run away.
Yeah, I mean, Ari with this build just even if she wanted to, she can't deal with them though. Like Luden's companion with, I'm guessing this next one is going to be the Storm Surge. Is not going to deal with this Mundo at any point in time this game. So I'm really not sure what Poison Threat is actually what the plan is here.
The needlework does end up finding the third slow, and the auto attacks now come through. The Pandalorian with the pullback finds the kill for the side of ARQ, and now the Frostbite jungler is dead seconds before the 4th Drake spawns. Hodgson is still on the top side, pushing up, trying to get whatever pressure he can for the side of Frostbite. Now he ends up going to the turret, finally procs the demolish, finally gets the damage on the turret. As you see more fighting in the bot lane. The binding lands. The Zaya is just absolutely deleted, but now the re-engage comes through, and Infinity is just trying to make whatever space he can between him and the enemy team. But now the Spirit Rush comes through, the Charm does end up missing, the Zaya is still up.
Yes, it was Ivan who got one shot, not the Zaya, as the Sushi with the flash, I forgot the name of the Morgana ult. Anyways,
In the meantime, Hodgson.
yes. In the meantime, Hodgson push. He takes the tier 2 top lane in exchange for the second Infernal Dragon for the side of ARQ.
And if you keep stacking these Infernal Dragons, this Gwen is becoming beyond scary. We've already seen in all of these fights, it seems to be the dominating presence for the side of ARQ. On the side of Frostbite, you have this Mundo that's doing the correct thing. He is finding so much pressure on the side lanes. All tier 2 turrets are down on the side of ARQ. So if you do lose a fight, and Frostbite have the numbers and have the way, you can just end up like pulling off the end to the game. But you keep giving up these neutral objectives. You lost Atakan. You've lost a side first, second, third, and fourth Drake. It's just really difficult for this Frostbite team. It feels like to just link up and try and find a play together.
Yes, Frostbite do need to stick together and just let Mundo do his job. However, I feel like at this point, at the side, looking at his items, Infinity is going for his Serpent's Fang second, which I'm not. I mean, it's not a bad call against this Ivern. Obviously, Ivern with those refreshing shields can be really annoying, but it's just this is basically your main source of damage in the team fights. I feel like you're better off just taking those shields to the face and going more stronger vitality as we see a fight in the bot lane between the two tanks.
No, Stereo is not level 6. Not Stereo. Hodgson is not level 16. He doesn't have that quite the power on that third ultimate. It's just we can see the equalizing trades. The needlework and the ult being just traded is fine, but as we see here, the catch currently happening in the mid lane. The exhaust and the ghost go down for the Rel, but it ends up being nothing as a two-man stand no lands thanks to the Morgana ult. Eustadio steals the Rel ult, and now the re-engage is coming through. As finally we see Frostbite fighting together to find the fight, to find the pick. But as we see, the Zaya is currently just able to kite back, and the damage comes through. The charm from the Sari just saves the play. Ends up being a 2 for 2 at the end of the day. Hodge still on the sideline.
Yes. This is mostly, we're currently watching how both teams want their comps to play out. Zaya had Vi and Sai was dashing into her, and she's just dropping feathers on the ground, kiting backwards. And I'm sure ARQ will figure out how to dodge a Morgana binding by the end of this game, but it's probably not going to be right now.
There is no Spirit Rush available, I'm afraid. My friend, you've just been acquired by Mundo Industries. Good catch from the side of Frostbite, finding the pick on the enemy mid laner. Sushi's been really good for
Lushnik has been really
for
good.
the entire of the series. For entire of the
Yes.
series, was the reason in game 2 it looked doable still, like finding the windows to just get the engage and try and just make things happen for the side of Frostbite. And in game 1, it just felt like a pretty good team-wise performance. Now we see the Mundo is level 16. The Gwen is shredding him with the death cap completed. Mundo uses the ultimate, forced to flash away, just trying to make whatever space he can between himself and the scissor girl. This is just becoming a really, really difficult side lane for Hodge to manage.
Yes, and in the meantime, ARQ managed to secure their first third of the game, that tier 1 on mid lane, as Reach seems to be getting caught here. Still trying
He
to deal
might
with the
be
Mundo.
either getting caught or he might catch. As we see, the damage is now starting to come through. The Riftmaker is already running. There is the death cap available. But the CC starts going down, but the needlework is available. He finds the first kill. There is no CC available anymore on the side of Frostbite. But the flash, the Q, does not find the kill. Ends up being a 1 for 0. Stereo ends up falling. Nobody else falls inside of Frostbite. That was a 1v3.
I mean, this is a 5-0-3 3-item Gwen here. Like, I asked this question when we were a bit quiet. Who is killing this Gwen? Because it's not going to be in a 1v3, that's for certain. The only question is, how did the rest of ARQ in a 4v2 not able to take the tier 2 turret on mid lane? Poison Thread is pushing this turret here on the bot lane. I don't think he's going to be able to get it in time. But yes, this Gwen, I think it's safe to say, is now unstoppable and very, very impossible to kill, even with 3 players. Even with, I'd say, one of the most Morphed members on the side of Frostbite in the Silos. We just saw Gwen just out-sustain everything those 3 players threw at her. This is going to be the 3rd dragon, Infernal Dragon for the side of AirQ. The next one will be the Soul, and Frostbite will need to fight this fight unless they want to give a 4 Infernal Dragon, Infernal Soul to the side of ARQ.
I think fighting the Gwen is doable, but you need some way of you need some healing reduction on somebody at this point. Like
Yeah, Ari
unless you're
has it.
fighting, yeah, on the side of Frostbite, you need it for Frostbite because you can't fight the Gwen otherwise.
I mean, I forgot the name of the item, but like the anti-heal item, Bramblefest. Bramblefest is fine on Mundo against Gwen. Honestly, it could be fine, but like Bramble does not fit into the push Mundo build, so he's obviously not gonna build it.
I mean, maybe you fight around when you fight when the virus is around, because you see another catch is possible here on on the Mundo, as he uses that ult and maximum dosage to finally get out of another gank. He is back to full HP. Are they going to look for a catch? The Ari goes in and then goes immediately out. The Mundo does not have that maximum dosage available. He has the spell shield back up. He is getting currently shredded by the Squen, but it will not be quite enough. The Warmogs will kick back in very soon, as the Frostbite seem intent on maybe killing the Daisy, but a root caller lands and it just forced to immediately dive back. We need to kill this Daisy to finally get some space. As you see, the binding lands again onto somebody. Sushi's trying to make whatever space she can, but now Infinity is alone. The flash charm ends up landing, and it's another kill going in the back pocket of Reach. Hodge is now back to full HP, but everything is back on the side of ARQ. It's they're 5 men strong, they're healing, they're doing the Baron, and it just feels impossible now for the side of Frostbite. You're trying to approach this objective. You have this level 17 Mundo who has scaled, who is very strong, but it's just very difficult to try and find anything at this point. This Gwen is just making it so damn hard to take this fight.
This fight lasted so long. This whole situation, I'm not gonna call it a fight, it was more of a situation, lasted so long. The fight, the first fight started with Gwen ult on top of the Mundo, and the fight ended with a Gwen ult on, I think it was on Infinity there at the end. I just want to mention something that happened like a bit of the screen. You mentioned Ari jumping in and then having to ult out. Ari actually hit her charm onto Infinity and blew his cleanse at that fight. And so in the second part of the fight, with the flash charm, Infinity did not have cleanse for it, so he just went down to the entirety of ARQ.
You see here now Gwen trying to push the advantage into the Mundo, but the Mundo does have Warmog, so he will be fine at the end of the day. The bigger issue on the side of Frostbite right now is that the Zaya, as we saw, we're getting punished so much in the laning phase. It doesn't feel like it's really ended up mattering, but as we see here now, more fighting in the top side, as we see the ult being used by Sushi to try and make the play happen. The Zonias ends up being used by Reach. Now he gets on top of Infinity. They're really trying to take the Squen down, but it's not enough, man. You don't have the damage, you don't have the CC, you don't have the healing reduction, and the maximum dosage will only get you away. It's a 3v1, and it ends up being a 1-for-0 on the side of ARQ. Why do we keep fighting this Gwen?
This Gwen has had enough. She's about to take this turret in front of Mundo. Mundo is about to see what push really looks like, as Gwen ult is almost back up in about, I'd say, 5 or 10 seconds. Tier 2 is also dropping on mid lane. And
happening almost in every
yes,
to the side of ARQ.
Here comes the...
Oh boy.
Yeah, as I said, the needlework is back up. Tier 2 top lane is gone, and after that the Mundo is dropping as well. You asked me why I would give it to ARQ. I told you it's this Gwen, and I'm sorry, but it seems I'm not wrong on this one. It's going to be. It's looking very tough. I don't. They need to kill this Gwen, or like, I don't know, disconnect her internet, maybe, hopefully.
And the Gwen now has 5 items completed, so she can't get any stronger than this, at least.
Yes, yes.
You have to look at the positives sometimes. But the Drake has spawned. It will be Infernal Soul for the side of ARQ if Frostbite don't end up contesting. And Nova Nomi gets caught out once again, trying to walk alone into an objective. Ends up having to flash and Q away. It will end up just being Infernal Soul for the side of ARQ, 4 Infernal Drakes for this Gwen. Production, if we could check just how much AP this Gwen currently has, just for our own education, you know, just trying for
It's
our own knowledge.
around 800. Yeah, 834.
839.
There it is.
Jesus.
There it is.
Oh god. Oh god. This is going to be a tough one on the side of Equinox. I mean, then again, they could just find the miracle fight and end the game off of one pick, but I guess we'll have to see as the Baron is not spawning anytime soon, but as we see Nova loitering around the Baron area, maybe looking for a flank. But what do you flank? What do you engage on? Do you blow up the Ahri? Do you blow up the support at this point? But as we
Or
see
you get
here,
engaged on yourself.
as we see the possibility of the engage coming through on the support, Stereo maybe looking to engage onto this Iron, but you know he knows backup is on the way already. The Gwen is on the bot side, pushing in the face of the Mundo, probably just chunking him out, him and his health. As we see here, Stereo taking a really hard trade into the Yari. That Oblivion Orb and the Burst build really doing wonders in terms of poke. Not really much else, but for the poke, it's really, really, really annoying to deal with. But we see here instead, Hodgson trying to delay whatever push the Gwen has, but the Gwen just forces the maximum dosage out of the Mundo. But now the Reese to come through for the side of Frostbite. Needlework comes out for the Gwen to try and slow down the chase. It ends up being just Frostbite going over to the mid lane, clearing out the weight. But now there's a 4-man push in the top lane for the side of ARQ. Morgana is the only one here trying to stop the push. Lands the binding onto a minion, slows down a little bit of the push, but now the root caller lands, but the season assist goes onto the Yari. The pullback is gigantic and ends up being a double kill for the Zaya. Reach joins the fight, blows up the Mundo. It's a double kill for the Gwen. It's a double kill for this Zaya. And for a game that looked so good in Frostbite's hands, it ends up being after an ARQ climbing back from the depths to take this game 3 and take the series home.
ARQ on the back of their top laner Reach win the second game and secure the series 2-1 against Frostbite Equinox.
Commiserations to the Equinox led, but honestly, it was just ARQ just played better. ARQ just ended up playing better for most of the game. So
I mean,
yeah, commiserations to Frostbite. Congratulations to ARQ. I don't think we'll be doing an interview tonight, as I am quite tired. But again, thank you very much for everybody who joined us in chat to watch this game together. I have been Harold, my co-caster. Vulpes, thank you very much for being here and being here to share the experience with us. And thank you, Elwood, for producing the stream tonight. And we will see you another day.
yeah, everyone. See ya on Thursday, I guess, or maybe next week. We'll see. We'll see. See you soon.